Initiated retinal scan. McClure, Brandon T. Authorization. Initiated retinal scan. Eopolis, Ryan J. Authorized. Witty, Sparks. Authorization. Authorized. Good evening, gentlemen. I realize that this intro may be a little bit derivative from a few weeks ago, but unfortunately, I was short on time and I had to think of something. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to kidnap Mr. Ben Magnet, strap him down, and force him to watch all 6 Mission Impossible films until Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning releases in theaters next week. He is somewhere, we do not know where in the globe he is, but he is somewhere, and your mission is to find him. Should you be caught or killed, we will disavow you, and you know the thing. How's it going, everyone? It's me. I'm Ben Magnet. I'm here. We're talking Mission Impossible 5 and 6, Rogue Nation and Fallout. And I'm ready. I have finally done it. I have finally did the Brandon's lifelong dream of getting to sit me down and watch every single Mission Impossible film. We're here. We're about to talk about it, but we got some other stuff to talk about it. Brandon, how's it going, my friend?
Did the intro play?
Yeah.
Good, because my computer did not appreciate whatever I tried to do, and it did not play for me. So, okay, good. Hi, guys.
What's up?
What's up?
Can't fight the fiction.
Man, it's 9:27 on a Sunday night, and I just don't think we have enough time to find Ben and then make him watch 6 movies. I think this mission might just be impossible.
Where in the world is Benjamin Magnet?
Jesus. I'm sorry. Literally, the street behind me is blowing fireworks right now. And I'm like, you guys are nuts. So I apologize if you get some popping noises from my camera, from my screen.
They call that the Lord's fireworks.
Yeah. But we have a big announcement, guys. It's been a while since we've had a big announcement, so I think we're due. Everyone, this is the last show, as you know it. The show, as you know it, is changing. Fake Nerd Podcast will be moving. It's going to continue, guys. But starting next week, we're going to have a new format. So today, it's the classic show, we're going to do news, we're going to do the movies, we're going to do the book club. But next week, we're going to do a new format that will continue on for likely the rest of the show, which will be our weekly roundup, as you know it, the news as you know it, and then that's it. We are going to be taking the book club segment of the show and the main topic segment of the show, which is normally a movie review. We're going to be removing those segments from the show and putting them. Well, we have a Fake Nerd Book Club podcast feed, and we have a Fake Nerd Cinephiles segment kind of brand on the show. So the content that would normally go in those sections will be on those from now on. So once again, just to kind of reiterate, starting next week, going to be a shorter show. That's one of the reasons why we decided to do it. So it's weekly roundup as you know it, news as you know it, and then that's it. Starting next week and from now on. You guys want to say anything about this real quick?
Yes. Also, we will no longer be recording on Sunday nights.
Oh, that was I keep forgetting about that one.
We are shifting to our default time is going to be Sunday mornings. We will try and let you know if that will change. Sometimes it might fluctuate depending on how our plans shake out, but the default setting is Sunday mornings.
Yeah, so we will be we're doing a shorter show, and we'll be doing it in the mornings rather than at an ambiguous time between 8 and 10 o'clock p.m. on Sunday nights. But yeah, it will be. We'll try to aim for the mornings. Sometimes we'll probably have to do a Saturday night, but moving the show, we're going to be a little bit more flexible and try to get it done before. Grayson in the chat, pout, but I understand. Grayson, you the MVP. You and Mag are the real MVPs.
Yeah. Good news is, I was just about to say, Mag, Grayson, don't have a heart attack. The show is still going on. We just need to change some things around a little bit. That's all we're doing. The show is still going to be here.
I think they're sad because they might not be able to attend the live streams anymore.
Probably because I know what Grayson's job is, and he's probably at work right now. And he's like, "Well, shit. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get a Discord message from him in a bit." He's like, "Well, what the hell am I gonna do when I'm here at work?"
You can catch up.
Yes.
Hey,
there you go.
What I love about this change is we're not getting rid of anything. We're just shifting it.
Yeah.
We're still reviewing all the big movies we want to talk about. We're still going to be talking about comics. It's just instead of doing it all in one evening, which is, can be stressful for us as for gentlemen who are growing up. We're still going to do the same stuff, just in more bite-sized formats, which is will make it easier for us, easier for you guys to digest it instead of one big podcast. It's a win-win in my opinion.
And on that note, I will clarify, our book club is moving out, and it will no longer be every single week, but we are keeping our rotations with each other. The goal right now is bi-weekly for those. And then we're going to start working back in the ongoing that we started the Fake Nerd Book Club spinoff show to do.
Which we used to do years ago.
So we're going to try and do the ongoing series once again and get those rolling so that we're constantly feeding out both our rotations of our picks for the book club and an ongoing series that has been chosen by the wheel.
But so as they say, the show as you know it is coming to an end, but the show will continue. I want to just thank Mag and Grayson deeply from the bottom of my heart that they have stuck around these late night live shows for us for many years.
It's true, like point. For real.
You guys rock, and I'm so happy that you guys have been doing it with us. What is comment say?
Grayson says, shorter show, more content, giving you healthier lifestyles. You could say this is a more positive Fallout. Dun, 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 dun.
Yes, that's yes. It is part of the reason, especially the move to the mornings, is to make this easier on us because we are aging boys, and the more this goes on, the harder it becomes on our lives, essentially. And the idea is that we don't want this to become a burden, and this will help this become less so.
Absolutely. I heard this great thing on social media, and I want to keep using it. I'm not an adult. I'm a child with a drinking permit.
It's true.
Never grow up.
So yeah. Sorry to spring it on you guys, but next week the change will go into effect. And maybe I'll do a fun little start this with the number 1. You know what I was thinking about doing? You know how Marvel does like legacy numbering under like the main numbering of the book? I was thinking about doing like 1-336 in brackets.
Hey man, new brand, get a brand new logo. I'm all for it.
I will allow it for 1 episode. And then it goes immediately as all classic comics do.
Just like Marvel.
Immediately back to 3.
They forget that shit after like 5 issues.
Not only that, like DC, because DC kept it going, especially with Action Detective Comics.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. Okay, well, that's the big announcement. We got the rest of the show for you guys tonight, so let's get right into it with some links. My CBR stuff is linked below. There's actually quite a bit of that was published recently. I went through Box Office Mojo and talked about all the box office grossing of all the DC EU films now that it's over. So from Man of Steel to The Flash. Hey, Aquaman is the highest grossing DC EU film. I kind of knew that, but it's still wild to think.
Sure.
Wonder Woman is second.
I'm not doubting Aquaman 2 to turn it around this year for DC.
Yeah.
Not doubting it.
I also have put on, by the way, keep lookout on the website, fakenerdpodcast.com. I'm updating that all the time. Ben's blog specifically is being updated every day almost. So stay tuned. I put up an article that was meant to be published in Kaiju Ramen magazine, however, had to be pulled. So I put that up on my blog in case anybody is interested in reading it, because it's not going to get published anymore. I just wanted to put it somewhere. So if you guys are interested in reading about this kind of art coffee table book about this guy who did the artwork, the concept art for Godzilla vs. Kong, Kong Skull Island, and Godzilla King of the Monsters, he's putting out a book. I think his name is Richard Bennett. So I wrote kind of a first look article on that. It's kind of cool, kind of fun. Check that out if you're interested. That's linked below.
Right on.
Neat.
I have an Atomic Geekdom article where I talk to... No, I don't. That's the wrong thing to say. Where I write about kind of the appeal and interest of a Indiana Jones spinoff. Kind of a Harrison Ford less Indiana Jones. Kind of explore, like, is it possible? Should they do it? What would it kind of look like? Who would it follow? I kind of fall on the side of, yes, I would do want a spinoff. I don't want like a franchise, but like a spinoff is something I want. So that's that's up there. The Comic Geekdom article that's linked below. And now it's Ben's turn. Ben returning triumphantly to the description section of the show. Fusion Gaming Magazine. Ben, do you want to pull it out? You've got it, right? You got it right there.
It's right here.
Look at that.
Well, this is technically last month's issue, but we because the way it's printed and delivered, of course they take care of all the subscribers in Europe first, and then the overseas subscribers get theirs. So the ones here in America were a bit of a month behind, but this one is really nice because, hey, look, there's my face because I wrote about going to SoCal Gaming Expo. There I am, right there.
There he is.
Very cool.
Yeah. Fusion issue. Oh my gosh, 45.
So that's where you can purchase and subscribe to the magazine is linked below. As well, Ben, the wild 33rd episode of D and Dark.
Please, okay, I need to know what was your guys' reaction that the second when Dan revealed that we were in the serial plane and not the ethereal plane.
I honestly clocked it from the title.
Yeah.
I didn't. To be honest, because Dan, he does these funny titles. I was like, oh, what's the relevant thing here? And like, I never really grew up with any of those serials, right? Like, I never really paid attention to them.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so like when it was revealed, I was like, that's insane, and I love it.
Yeah.
It was very much the guy who plays Imhotep. What's his name? Daniel.
Yeah.
Daniel. His reaction was my reaction. Like, this is so stupid, and I love it.
The second, because like when I got in there and he was describing the whole thing, I was like, the second he told me about skyscraper, I'm like, where the hell am I? And then the second he said the Frankenberry cereal, I'm like, no. How long have you been holding on to this little nugget? How long? Apparently a long time.
The Phantom bit was really funny because there is no Phantom of the Opera cereal, so he had to the concept art one. That was a cool idea.
So now that you've seen that, Brandon, you sent me a photo of Carmilla.
Yeah, the Carmilla cereal.
Yeah, so when you sent me that, we literally just finished recording, like days after the fact.
That's funny.
Of us being in the ethereal plane. And I've been wanting to talk to you about this for weeks. Because that was I just thought that was funny to be like, hey, look, they're making a Carmilla O's or whatever it's called. Yeah, but the fact that all of us just got out of the serial plane, and it was just like the timing was perfect, but we couldn't tell you because it's spoiler territory.
Sure. Great show.
Still is for anyone who didn't listen yet. Sorry, folks.
Yep.
It's linked below if you haven't. It's very fun show.
One of these days we'll spoiler warn before we talk about D and Dark.
Probably. Okay. So that's all the kind of personal stuff. So across the network, a couple of things popped up this week, such as actually just today, the Cinephiles for Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Sparks put that up today. It's in both audio and video. So if you missed our review from last week, that's in the description below if you're interested. One of our longest single film reviews in a while. Yeah, I was surprised to see that runtime.
We had a guest.
Fake Nerds Watch for Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Season 2, Episode 3. Tomorrow and tomorrow. We discussed that episode. I really like that episode. I think we all really like that episode. Really enjoyed doing that show with you guys. Thank you for doing it.
Of course, every week. Love it.
Okay. And then before we put up Grayson's comment, I do want to say the last link in the description is my conversation episode with Rachel Strange is finally out. I put that up this morning. I really enjoyed that conversation. I really connected with Rachel. It was very fun to do that. Such a good conversation. We're talking about like art versus content, kind of what her like opinions on that one, why it's called The Narrative Labyrinth. Really insightful, really fun. I'm spoiled with having talked to some really great people this season. And Rachel is no different. Highly recommend you listen to that, obviously, because I put it out. I look forward to people enjoying it as much as I enjoyed recording it. So there you go. Grayson Live's comment real quickly says, I didn't want to say anything, but it's all good. Teases for anyone that wants to know how the team ends up in the serial plane.
Yum, yum, yum.
All right. That's all the links in the description. Please check them out. We work really hard on them. Let's go into our weekly roundup. Who wants to go first?
I will.
Go for it.
All right.
Only two things that I really want to talk about, and one of them is really going to be, I'm going to go swing by quickly because Sparks already mentioned it, is I finally saw Elemental on 4th of July, and everything Sparks says, I 100% echo because that is a fantastic film. Go see it. The marketing is bad. It is truly a great Pixar movie. Every other YouTuber I see that has a thumbnail with them saying Pixar has a problem and Wade crying from Elemental is, I don't even want to watch it because after seeing that movie, no, Pixar does not have a problem. Pixar is doing fine. It's Disney that's screwing them over.
I am happy to say that this week Elemental will pass the $200 million at the global box office, becoming the highest grossing animated hit for Disney since Frozen 2. So that's good news. That's a real comeback story this summer.
Mm-hmm.
I also saw Elemental this week. It is really great. There's a moment at the end that I saw coming, and I was like, oh no, if they do this, I'm not going to be okay.
Mhm.
I'm going to start crying. And they did it, and I started crying. It's a really good moment. It's a really good movie. I really love Elemental, much like I love Turning Red, this kind of other perspective on society and things like that. And the way that, I mean, we could talk about it so we're blue in the face, but like the trailers were like, hey, remember Zootopia? Here's Zootopia, but with a Romeo and Juliet love story, and it doesn't look as imaginative. And you're watching this, and you're like, that's so not at all what this movie is.
Yeah.
And I really love the interpretation of the fire element, the fire elementals. I think it's just a really beautiful story that a lot of people should check out because I think it's very necessary.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys mentioned the animation on specifically Ember. So good. I love her animation so much.
It's
gorgeous. Go ahead.
No, it wasn't just Ember's animation, but the fact that the way the light is playing, or like the way that the animators make the light rays when like she's like say she's standing behind Wade, and how the light is reflecting out of Wade, or how there was this great scene where Ember's talking to Wade, and the camera's focused on Wade's face, but your attention isn't on Wade's face, it's on Ember's reflection in his face.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just all the stuff that they do with lighting, and how they turn, and how light refracts through water is just absolutely beautiful. This whole film is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah,
and I'm still mad at because I was going into this movie thinking, I don't know if I'm going to want to see this movie, because normally we hear a Pixar movie, I'm like, hell yeah, let's go. I love Pixar. And after those trailers, I'm like, I'm not 100% sure. Could this be like Pixar's first major dud in my book? Nope. Completely different.
It kind of gave, the reason why I wasn't interested is because it gave me Onward vibes, and I didn't really care for Onward. I like Onward, but I don't really love it. But
it's fine, yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
Right.
And so like because I was like, okay, well I'll wait on it. But it was Sparks and Ryan's recommendation that like, hey, actually should go see this one.
I almost didn't see it, but like I'm glad I said yes, because it is way better than the marketing says.
Yeah, more often than not, we need to have faith that Pixar does usually know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And they do have something to do, and I'm really thrilled that you guys went and saw it, especially off our recommendation. I'm really glad that you guys took a chance on it. I really hope that if anyone is listening to this is still on the fence, please go see Elemental. I promise you, it's worth the money to go see that movie.
Good Pixar, baby.
Yeah,
Definitely. And the other thing I know Brandon is going to want. So, Brandon, do you want to come join me with this one? Because you saw this one too.
Well, I think it's all four of us.
All four of us?
Leaving us out, like we're not all, like I'm not about to rip my in my chest.
Ben's over here playing the Sonic kind of card again, where he's like, nobody else really likes Superman very much in this podcast group.
They mentioned it during our production meeting this morning that they had also watched at least the first episode, right?
We've watched the second by now, so we're with you.
Take 20 minutes long. We squeezed it out.
So let's all talk about My Adventures with Superman, which is delightful, and I adore it.
Mini FNW right here.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love the show. I love Lois Lane. I love Jimmy Olsen. I love Clark. I turned around on the suit. I wasn't a really big fan of the suit design at first. Nope, never mind. I really enjoy it.
Oh, when he does the magical girl transformation, how could you not?
Oh yeah.
Superman. It's Sailor Moon, but the show's great. This
Yeah, when Lois and Clark first meet each other, which is at a not a diner. What's it called?
Deli.
Deli. And she walks in, and Clark immediately like falls in love. I was like, you know what? Me too, dude. I feel this. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, Jessica Henwick was a lot of people's like fan choice to like new Lois Lane because she's like like young and spunky, and I was like, this is it's not Jessica Henwick, but it could be. I'm very happy about this.
That would have been cool.
She's got the energy for I think a really good Lois Lane.
I hard agree with that. This show is absolutely delightful.
Truly delightful.
The anime take and the anime influence and the style and the absolute love for the medium that they are putting into the show is excellent. I think it's really refreshing in a way where like I feel like they are homaging a lot of things that are done in anime without necessarily like trying to imitate a direct style of anime. Like they've kind of carved out their own little thing. Like it honestly, in animation terms, I think it kind of most of the time looks closer to Invincible.
I was thinking of Invincible, yeah.
But they've given it so much anime style to it that I really admire.
So this is done by Studio Mirror, who did Legend of Korra and Voltron, as well as the Witcher animated movie. I adore them. I've every single thing I've seen of theirs, I've just always loved. Their animation is so fluid. It's so interesting to look at. And here is, man, you could like Clark's hair moves, and I was watching that. I was like, shit, movement and animation.
Now that like I didn't realize it was Studio Mirror, but like them like Livewire doing her thunder shit, I'm like, oh, that's just bending. They're bending right now. Yeah. The villain choices are awesome because like Livewire, like sure that makes sense, and then you want to have Slade Wilson, but it's anime Slade Wilson where his eye patch is anime hair, and I'm like, Jesus, this is awesome. And the voice actor is Chris Parnell, who's actually doing like. That dude's an incredible, he's like an incredible like comedian, but like I've never heard him do like voice acting other than his funny voice.
You're kidding.
He's actually like doing some like shit in this. I'm like, man, this whole production
he's
rules.
almost unrecognizable.
Yeah.
Doesn't he play Figgis? Is it Figgis? The guy with the glasses in Archer.
Yes.
Yes.
And Jerry in Rick and Morty.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, like that dude's got range, and I'm like, oh, you get to have range in an anime Superman show? Like, it's incredible.
I mean, I watched because I watched the first episode out on my lunch break at work, and then I watched the second one was I saw it was available on the Max. I was like, hell yeah, I gotta watch this. I gotta finish it. And I was trying to find who the voice cast was, but it goes like super quick. It's an anime show. I didn't look it up, but I have to say the designs, like when we first meet Livewire, you don't know she's Livewire, and even when they call her name, I'm like, wait a minute, why does that name look familiar? Because
I didn't catch it until her hair goes on, and I was like, oh, Livewire.
The second her hair goes up and she starts doing the lightning, I'm like, oh, there you are.
I love Jor-El.
Oh yeah,
how they've interpreted Jor-El, because there's King Vegeta, exactly. Yeah. There's a bit where Clark is talking to Jor-El and he's like, I don't even know who you are, and he looks sad. I'm like,
yes.
Oh shit.
And then shows him. Yeah, I really like the way that they brought these first two episodes together. I think they've really sold the idea. I really, really love putting Lois Lane on even footing with Jimmy and Clark.
Yes.
Rather than her already being established at the planet. Like, she's familiar with the territory, but she's also an intern, and I like that a lot. I think it allows this budding romance story to really hit, which is what this is at its core, is this romance developing between Clark and Lois, and I think it's so cute.
What I think is going to be fun, which I think they're going to do, is what I like that they're starting from the beginning is that yes, Lois is interested in Clark. I think Lois is also going to be interested in Superman and be conflicted about who she likes more.
Yeah.
And then Clark is gonna have to fight himself and like has to figure out that whole situation, and then he'll eventually reveal it and blah blah blah.
There's
so juicy.
There's so much here that I love, which the like Lois, Clark, and Jimmy's whole relationship is just already cemented by the first time they meet each other, where they have that kind of like meeting behind Perry. And I love how just done Perry is with these people. He's just like, I don't care, just get out of my office.
Yeah. It's got a lot of flair. It's got a lot of heart, and I think even the new interpretations of some things like how we're seeing Clark's powers manifest within him, the blue lightning stuff that's triggering it, it's all working for me. I really like it in the context of the medium that they're doing. I'm like, this really plays.
Yeah.
The Ava inspired robots.
Oh, and
Yeah.
and
Oh, yeah.
I really love that it's Ma Kent who gives him the shorts.
Me too.
Uh-huh.
I
Me
love
too.
that.
Me too. Ben, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, really, when I was watching this, both episode 1 and especially episode 2, I felt like I was watching the first few episodes of the Superman animated series from the 90s.
Sure.
And I was just so enamored. And like when I was watching yes, it's only 2 episodes. And as I was watching this, I was just like, Superman's back. I don't know why. I had this feeling of childlike joy about Superman that I haven't experienced in a very long time. And I don't know if it's just because it's an animated cartoon that's a well-made animated cartoon and it's doing different things with Superman's origin. I will not lie. I absolutely love how they put the 90s the thing that all middle school kids drew on his shirt when you first meet him.
I still draw it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
me
then-
too. You
and
should
just
see
like-
my notes.
Yeah. And just even one of the other things I want to applaud the show for is them taking risk and doing something new and different. When he meets Jor-El, he doesn't know what the frack he's saying. I love that.
Yeah, the choice to make Jor-El speak Kryptonese is what the subtitles call it was I think inspired. It's cute, it's funny, it's charming, it's delightful. It is everything I wanted it to be. What that intro that they showed us prior to the show coming out sold is exactly what the show is, and I'm so into it. I'm so down for it.
Oh, go ahead,
I
please.
just like it's however you feel about the Snyderverse and all that stuff, but like that Superman trajectory is kind of rocky. It is just incredible to have just like Superman be on screen. It's just really, really cool to have and then like the movies coming back, like it feels like, man, it's like coming home to Kansas. Like it's a nice feeling.
Like
what I think is really special about the show, and what I think will be true of the show going forward because of the way that they're doing this and the format and everything, is that Clark Kent is a character first, and you get him first, and then Superman is attached to that, but they're developing Clark Kent.
Yeah.
And that's who he
saves
really is.
He saves a cat out of the tree the first time we meet him.
Right. I mean, like everyone's talked about, we've talked about it before, where Batman is who Bruce Wayne really is, but Clark Kent is who Superman really is. And I think putting Clark Kent as a first step forward is the thing that's making this even kind of feel different. Well, I understand what Ben was saying from the 90s cartoon is putting him forward.
To quote J. Michael Straczynski's Superman Earth 1, the mask is what you're going to have to be wearing the rest of the time. Like when she's telling like, if you're going to be this character or this person, you have to be a mask when you're not wearing the suit. And you can still be Clark, but you have to be Clark, or you have to
I really hope that we get the magical girl transformation every episode.
I
I don't think we will, but I want it.
I think it's a dream. I think I believe it. This type of show, I could believe it.
Yeah, solid. Really happy
great
with it.
show.
Excited to watch more.
honestly, just from like those 2 episodes, the way that I just kept thinking about it, this is probably going to make my top 10.
It is so nice to be at a point where there are 2 excellent Superman shows on television.
Sure.
You got Superman and Lois, and now this.
I've gotten spoiled for some stuff, and that's me being like really behind. But I'm like, I cannot wait to catch up.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
That looks really good.
Okay, well, Ben, that was the last thing I wanted to bring up. So
that was it.
I'll go next because I think I share this with Sparks and Ryan, and that'll segue into them, which is The Blackening.
Oh, sure. That was this week. That's true.
Yeah. Obviously, Elemental, My Adventures Superman, but I also saw The Blackening with these 2 gentlemen below me.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. I really, really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
For those who might not remember or know, The Blackening is a kind of satire on horror comedy that is making a joke of how Black characters have been treated in horror movies, and so you get all these Black performers together in a cabin where they are now being like directly attacked in a really racially provocative way, and the hilarity that kind of ensues out of how they encounter the situation and deal with it, and it goes for some really good jokes. It's a lot of fun. Really encourage people, if you've got a chance. It's probably on its way out of theaters, if not gone.
It's actually, I think I literally saw it hit VOD like this weekend.
Yeah. So check it, give it a check out. We definitely talked about the trailer a while back, and it was worth it.
What day did we see it? Monday?
That was Monday.
Yeah, and I think because of the holiday weekend, but like our theater was like pretty full and had like really good reaction. Like it was a good theater experience, which is always helpful for a comedy. It was a really good time.
Yeah, our theater was very responsive to it, which really helped because it's very funny.
Yeah.
And there's I know that I think that our whole row had the same moment in the first joke where we all like, should we laugh at this?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one early joke in that one, Ben, where I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, really like it. I really want people to go check it out. I can't really say too much more without spoiling it. But it's awesome. One of the best movies of the year, I think.
Yeah, definitely a really fun one. It was nice to go laugh that hard again.
All right, one of you guys?
So I have nothing new this week. I've just been playing more Zelda and Final Fantasy 16. I don't really have much to add. That they're both really good. Like they're both incredible feats of video game performance. I love it. Everything I did with Sparks, and we've mentioned Adventures of Superman, The Blackening. And I don't know, honestly, I don't know if you've done anything else. So like, I don't have much to add.
I did want to give Brandon just an opportunity, like just to spotlight. You did watch Nimona, right? Or was that last week?
That was last week.
That was last week.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I read the book, and I just wanted to say, like, the book is well worth a read if you guys get a chance. It's a graphic novel. It was clearly a webcomic to start.
Yeah.
Like a webcomic. Like when I say webcomic, it was a webcomic the whole time brought into a graphic novel, but it was very like webcomic format in the beginning, and then it finds its story. But like there were clearly ideas even from the beginning as it starts to flesh itself out. It's a very unique world. I'm sure that's true in the anime film. I'm very interested because I'm very interested in how they adapt like what they did in the book into the film. So I'm excited to watch it.
I haven't read or seen it, but from what people said, like it is dramatically different.
Yeah, and I'm kind of down with that because I feel like just from the trailers, like the core of what's important about the story is clearly in the film.
Yes.
So I'm not worried about it, and like I'm down for like kind of radically different interpretations of how you tell that story.
Gotcha.
So I'm really kind of about that. I think that's cool.
I just saw a very small clip about Nimona, and thankfully, Fanny just got Netflix again because we were mooching off my dad, and then Netflix did the whole thing, so our password was yoinked.
Oh, you got it. I haven't met anyone who got yet.
Yeah, we
Me
got
too.
got.
Me too.
Oh,
We
no.
got.
So okay, so what? So yeah, we got, but we were able to buy our profile off of the person we were mooching Netflix off of. So we still have a profile, but we don't
You
have.
inherited.
Yeah, we kind of kept it. It's a weird system. I'll tell you guys about it later.
We didn't. We just created brand new ones, but that's totally fine. But Nimona was one of the ones I really wanted to watch because I would see like clips, like trailer clips on social media of like her turning into a shark, shaking the guy's hand or trying to shake the guy's hand. And there's this other clip of the dude with the mustache. He's like, "You guys like jazz?" And he's playing the saxophone while other people are chasing him. And I'm just like, I've heard nothing but great things about this movie. I need to watch it, and I am gonna watch this movie. I'm gonna, at least the next time I'm on the show, I will hopefully say I've seen Nimona because I want to see this movie really bad.
It's one of my favorites of the year. Animation really killing it this year.
Yeah, I'm stoked to get to it, but I am glad that I'm glad I read the book because I wanted to do that, and I think it was well worth it. So shout outs to that graphic novel. And the only other thing I want to mention is Unicorn Warriors Eternal. I've talked about it before, but I binged watched in one night like the last 5 episodes, the back half of the season. That show goes some places where it leaves off in the season. I don't know if I think they confirmed a season 2, but honestly I need to look into
I'll
it.
tell you.
Thanks. Because I definitely want more of it. Highly recommend for those who are fans of Tartakovsky. You need to check this out. The animation is gorgeous. He's doing some stuff where he's just there's some scenes where he just kind of goes on about like D-list characters in the story, like just like absolute total side characters, and he's just kind of having fun with them on the side. I really love the style. I really love the art. This is a unique story. This is one of the most unique original things I've seen in a while. While it is taking inspirations from a lot of things, and even Tartakovsky's own like sense of characters and things he's been attracted to before, it is coming together for like something that feels different and new and in its own whole. I really, really like it. There's some really incredible character stuff done in the back half of that season, particularly for Brandon. I highly recommend you get to it. Just because like you've been watching Primal and stuff, I think Tartakovsky has maybe never been more in his element than he is on this.
No confirmed.
Just with what he's doing.
No confirmed season 2 yet.
Yeah, I really hope we get one. So I highly encourage people to watch it. All 10 episodes for the season are available on Max. God, I hate saying that. But it's on Max, and I really, really like it. I really hope more people check it out, because I heard a lot of discussion about it when it started, but I haven't heard as much since the last episodes came out, and I hope people keep championing it, because it's a great show.
Yeah, I really need to get on that. I also need to finish Primal. I haven't finished the last couple episodes yet.
We kind of touched on last time, just to remind everyone what Unicorn Warriors Eternal is. It's, these people who are reincarnated generation after generation. They are brought back into new host bodies. Their souls are revived into these new host bodies by a robot from the future who saves the souls after they defeat the evil, so they can fight the evil again, and they cycle through this over and over. And there's definitely something in the wind, and we don't find out by the end of the season. Like, something has made this time go different. They don't seem to be in the bodies they were supposed to. There are even 2 descendants of previous hosts who were prepping their whole lives to be able to take this on, and are frustrated that they did not get chosen.
Oh no!
And so they get involved in the story, and it's really an interesting crux point of this kind of storytelling about chosen destiny and reincarnation and how that comes about, and then these kind of like young kids who get mixed in. And what I really like is that you have 2 kids who are not supposed to be the hosts, according to like the people who would judge that. And the main one, our lead girl, her identities are kind of fighting it, and the other kid kind of just like completely gave into it and has free spirit, but like is more childlike because of it. As he is possessed by the soul, he's like completely connected to it, but he's now like more childlike, like the original identity is, than he was before, because they have completely like, he's very zen in his way, so they have like completely subsumed into each other easily.
They're combined forces.
Yeah, it's really, really interesting.
You get a fusion.
And you'll get shit like real quick. You'll get shit where you'll just like drop into like South America, and Merlin will be there, and Merlin will be like investigating something in the jungle, and then all of a sudden this like tiger champion appears, and he's like, Rakashan, I have heard of how you protect this. And like, you are just given like lore bullshit to get people involved so quickly, but like these sick ass character designs. It's great.
20-minute episodes?
That's awesome.
10 episodes.
20-minute episodes?
Oh yes.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
No, that's it.
All right. Well, why don't we move into our bread and butter then?
Let's do it.
Garlic bread.
It's really good right now. And I just had dinner. I should not be saying that.
Garlic bread. Extra.
Okay. We let's do it. Small news this week. Very, very minuscule news.
It's almost like it knew what was coming.
Yeah. Fede Alvarez's Untitled Alien film has wrapped production, confirmed by Fede on Instagram. That filming started March 9th and ended this week, so that's cool.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, that's a small budget movie. That seems that's not doesn't scare me like a Deadpool situation.
No, God, no.
Which we now know is
definitely 100% not.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm still concerned because like the changing things in the edit and things like that need to happen. You need to flow with the story. So I hope that they put out a good Alien movie, because this was moved from Hulu to theaters, and I would love to go to see a good Alien movie in theaters again.
Yeah,
especially by Fede Alvarez.
True.
I do just like, while you were bringing that up, because we are like very quickly approaching the moment where it looks like SAG-AFTRA is going to strike, and
they're ready. They're ready.
Oh, they are so ready. It's not even. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to happen. And since that we seem to be on the precipice of that, I do think a lot of productions are in this state where just get the thing filmed. And if it sits in post for a while, that's different. Like, there's a different amount of money lost on that situation for holding it off. Yeah. Because they can fix some things in the edit once they have cleared these strikes. Yeah. But like the filming stuff, the people on contracts for locations and time and scheduling, that's the stuff I think they want to get clear of.
True. Yeah, that's a good point. We talked about a little bit about Alien. Deadpool 3 just now. We talked about it last week. Deadpool 3 did not stop filming. It has continued filming. I think Disney deliberately leaked those photos to be like, we're still doing this, guys.
Yeah. Good looking suit.
Yeah. We got a first look at Deadpool's new suit.
I forget the name of the costume designer, but the designer for this version of the Deadpool costume is the same designer for the Blue Beetle costume.
Looks good.
Yeah,
More
that
vibrant
Blue Beetle
color. Yeah.
costume looks very good.
Yeah, the Deadpool costume looks pretty good, to be honest with you. I
Can't
kind of
wait.
like the color.
Can't wait to see it on the sphere.
I like less complicated detail for Deadpool.
Yeah.
While I think the Deadpool costume looked really good in the original films, simplifying it into just like the colors looks pretty good.
Yeah.
So that's good. I'm glad it didn't stop filming. But we got news this week from THR, an exclusive from THR, saying that Jennifer Garner will return as Elektra from Daredevil and the Elektra film.
Yeah. Also, this is a more recent one that Brian Cox, who is William Stryker from X-Men 2, also who just quit Succession.
Yeah.
So now he has a lot of free time and probably needs like another pool.
Well, he didn't quit Succession.
No,
Succession ended, right?
Well, you don't watch it, but his character, spoiler, died at the very beginning of the season.
Oh,
so he actually hasn't been on Succession.
I
for
see.
a while. So I believe that one. Here's the thing. I think, first of all, everyone, when you hear Elektra, you're like, are you kidding me? Why? This is a Deadpool movie. This is going to be a joke. This isn't going to be they're taking it seriously. It's like they got Jennifer Gardner, and I think she's going to be in on the joke too. I don't think this is like serious. Like, whoa, it's Elektra, guys. Like, I think this is going to be a joke.
Yeah.
So the reason why the Brian Cox thing isn't in here is because that's not confirmed by a reputable source. That is still rumor right now, but it's most likely true. But the Jennifer Gardner thing was reported by THR, which was wild to me because this is like when Alfred Molina was announced as in Spider-Man. Like, this is true. This is
real.
Because now you're like, well, if Jennifer Garner's true, then Ben Affleck's true, and the Fantastic Four are true, and whatever.
Yeah. So I think Ryan's right. I think there's a sense of like probably like a Deadpool killing the Fox Marvel universe here happening. Yeah. Jennifer Gardner, by the way, worked with Sean Levy and Ryan Reynolds on the Ada Project, so I'm sure that was a very easy sell to be like, hey, do you want to come over do Deadpool 3 with us?
You can get a new pool.
If the story is literally like Deadpool on some meta mission to get into the MCU, he's like, I'll kill everyone else to get there.
Who do you need?
And like that's what it is. And you get all these other cameo actors to be murdered by Ryan Reynolds.
Listen,
I'm kind of into it.
It's just really, really funny that Halle Berry took a picture of herself with short white hair and just been like, "What's up, y'all?" Yeah, it was like, Halle, come on,
Halle, what are you doing?
I hope that even if it's like done in a jokey way, there can be some amount of like. I don't want the whole movie to be like this, but I do want some sense of like a celebration of how we got here.
True.
Like these movies were the bridge to getting us to where we are with superhero films.
Deadpool is
and I do
bridge,
want an amount of like a celebrational aspect to that.
Yeah. You can
however,
kill them, but also like show a little bit of like respect.
Which is me saying, I want Eric Bana. Give me Eric Bana.
I mean, you could very well be doing a movie where your idea is to do what everyone thought Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness was going to do, which is bring back a lot of the previous Marvel actors, the ones before the MCU, the Eric Banas, the Edward Nortons. I highly unlikely.
Do a Flash,
Nicolas Cage, Ghost Rider.
Yeah, Nicolas Cage, Ghost Rider, exactly. Like, and I agree with Sparks that like there should be some kind of celebration, especially like with the X-Men films because they were so seminal to creating what we have now, especially because Kevin Feige started there. Mm-hmm. But I also really kind of want a lot of these cameos to just be the Deadpool 2 X-Men Apocalypse crew, just like closing the door on Wade, and that's their whole cameo.
It would be like really funny if like this whole Elektra thing, she's literally in there for like 3 seconds. You're like, what, me? And then it just cuts. Like, oh, we have Elektra. Who, me? And that's it. Like, if I'm okay with that. That's great. Like, again, this is Deadpool. Like, I trust that crew. It's probably gonna be a good time.
I just immediately picture getting Patrick Stewart again, and like
God damn it!
No, and like he comes into a room and like he says a sentence and then his neck is immediately twisted. And Deadpool's like, you already got Multiverse of Madness.
We can't afford you.
And I'm like, that's on like an American Dad Patrick Stewart level joke. That feels like the kind of thing that would be done with his character on that show. I was like, true. If that's where we are, I'm okay.
Or like he shows up and like, Patrick, you're not in this one. Oh, sorry. Walks off screen. I'm ready. I'm ready
He
for this one.
he wheels in,
Yeah.
and he's like, Doctor Strange,
Like,
you have, but Doctor Strange is there, and he's like, wrong movie, and
Sorry.
he's like, I'm sorry.
That sounds like a good time.
Because it's Deadpool, because it's Ryan Reynolds and Patrick Stewart, and just that, I want that now.
Yeah.
I really hope that some joke like that is in this movie, because that just sounds like it'll be one of the greatest times of the movies. It's a superhero film, but it's one of those superhero films. It's like you're there to have a good time.
I like that when Multiverse of Madness came out, Patrick Stewart, he was doing Picard at the same time, and he was asked, like, these two characters, you keep returning to them. Would you keep returning to them? It's like, I would keep returning to Professor X as many times as they would ask. I would not return as Picard anymore, though. And I'm like, damn, dude. So you're in this Deadpool film, right?
I love a good paycheck. Who doesn't? I mean, hey man, people love them. It's great.
Honestly, like, I hope I wouldn't be sad at all if we got just one more Patrick Stewart and McKellen scene.
Yeah.
Just one more.
Just one. That's all.
Send us off into that oblivion
I hope so.
with a smile.
I miss those two on screen together.
I didn't think it'd be this way, Charles.
Yeah.
We're in a Deadpool movie.
I don't know why, but I just keep hearing Ian McKellen quote all those years wasted finding each other. Charles, just Ian McKellen's sultry voice.
No, but like splice that death scene from Days of Future Past into Deadpool 3, and it's way funnier.
Yeah.
Anyway,
true.
yeah. So fun.
We'll see. I'm staying hopeful that like it's got that right mix of we're having fun with it, but we're also like telling a story here. I don't want it to be just like, remember?
Yeah. Remember
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
we know that there's a rumor that's most likely true because we got a report saying what was happening on set, that Owen Wilson is probably in this as
Well, we know the TVA is in it for sure.
That's what I was saying. Like, we know the
Yeah.
TVA is in it now, so it's very likely that this rumor of Owen Wilson being in it is also true.
That's great.
So we'll see.
If it really is like Deadpool has to be a TVA agent.
Oh yeah, because the
against-
TVA
yeah.
the TVA will just hire him and be like,
Yeah.
call all this out.
Yeah, and we'll keep you.
Like,
Yeah, that's such a baller move. Destroy that whole universe. Deadpool is yours. I'm like, hell yeah, I get to survive.
And crossover sounds great.
Yeah, that sounds like a cool idea. Yeah.
oh my gosh.
We have some Chronicles of Narnia news.
I guess so.
Aslan.
The
What?
New Yorker is reporting that Greta Gerwig, the director of Barbie, is attached to direct 2 Chronicles of Narnia adaptations. They did not specify which books she was adapting, but she is attached to the Netflix adaptations of 2 books.
How many
So, Ben,
books
so, like-
are there?
So I don't know. 2018, Netflix bought the entire rights to all of that shit. So like they've been slowly making building like a writer's room and like making like they're gonna do a whole cinematic universe of movies and TV shows. So like this is the first really big like we got Greta Gerwig for 2 movies. But we don't know which ones they are yet. And I'm like, so she's not doing the first one. So where are you guys?
Well, so it could be so. This was not an announcement, right? This was a scoop that the New Yorker picked up. So like Netflix didn't say that this is what we're doing. So Greta Gerwig being attached to these hasn't been announced, which means we don't know what she's doing.
Yeah.
But what is most likely is that she is just doing the first 2.
Most likely. Yeah.
Sparks, you're a Chronicles of Narnia person.
Oh, I've read them.
I mean, when we were watching those movies, you were the only person who knew anything about them.
Yeah, I've read them. I don't think they're like incredibly stunning or anything. I think they're good to find.
I've read the Bible.
They're good to find depending on which one it is. But here's the thing, like them or hate them, those previous 3 films that came out, they kind of nailed it. Like they're not long books, they're not big books, and I think those 3 movies kind of captured everything there was to capture in those books. So you're either really radically trying to differentiate it or reinterpret it, or you're retreading if you do those 3 stories at all. Now, Magician's Nephew, which is technically the 6th book in the series, is technically a prequel to how the family gets involved in everything. There are elements that are kind of forward and looking back, but like most of the story is set before. So you could start there and that's something they haven't done. But
Greta Gerwig did say that she wanted to go into bigger budget fare, and this would do it. This would be that.
yeah, with Netflix,
That's the only problem. Like Netflix's track record for these kind of things isn't super great.
I think the other thing I was talking with my wife about this is that like I really like Greta Gerwig. I think she's got a talented eye just based off the Barbie trailer and the Little Women film. And I want her to do big blockbuster, but I kind of wish she was doing something less big known IP. It could be based off something. It could be an adaptation of something with a big,
but something that hasn't already been.
Something like yes, something basically fresh to film and something fresh to popularity. And Narnia is just not what I pictured. I have no doubt it will look very good.
Yeah.
Because Greta Gerwig really knows what she's doing. I'm not thrilled that it's Narnia, and I'm really not thrilled that it's on Netflix.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest.
I don't particularly care for or like have an interest in Narnia. So like, you know.
And I don't think most people do.
I don't think our generation lower. Nothing.
Here's the thing, like once the Harry Potter books came out, I don't think a lot of kids read those books anymore.
Yes.
So like your only associations are those previous films. And I don't think that those books have been picking up a lot of new readers unless like parents have been like pushing it onto their kids, and even then who knows how much they've liked
I don't see anyone talking about those movies.
Yeah, that's that I don't think Narnia has the hold that Netflix might think it does.
Yeah.
I mean, even those movies fizzled out, and it wasn't because they were bad movies. It was just because nobody had an interest in them.
Yeah.
I mean, didn't Disney sell it to Fox after the first film or something like that?
The second.
And then
second film.
it comes
Yeah.
back.
And then they did the third. Then Fox did the third film.
Yes.
And now they don't have the rights. And now Netflix has the rights. I mean, Netflix is scrambling for IP. They want franchise IP, which is why they're doing
the third film, which is technically the fourth book, if I remember correctly.
Prince Caspian.
Yeah.
Ben Barnes.
That's why Netflix is doing like the shared universe Roald Dahl thing, and now this. Like they want their IP. They want something big that they can market, and because they keep failing at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
We'll see.
We will.
The producer, Jake Wyatt, who is the producer on My Adventures with Superman, has confirmed that a second season is in development. It was ordered before the first season.
We've obviously already praised that show, so you know that we're happy about
Do we know
this.
how many episodes the first season is?
I saw 10 on IMDb. I don't know if that's the full list, but that might
10 sounds right.
Yeah, I'm just gonna double check because I
Which-
want 100 of them.
Which, let's be honest, Cartoon Network and Warner Brothers Animation has done this before. The rest of the episodes might have already been made, and they're calling it season 2, just like Netflix has done before.
That's true.
Yeah.
But I mean, but it's nice to know that we are getting more episodes, which will hopefully allow the show to continue because Zaslav kind of shunted it off to Adult Swim. Also, it's getting good word of mouth, good reviews. I'm happy that it's getting another few episodes.
To be honest with you, Adult Swim might have been the best place to put it.
Probably.
To be honest, like honestly, more than Max, like you are getting your advertiser numbers with that one, so you know that show is doing something for them if people are watching it on Adult Swim, which is great. That's great. That means the show has legs.
I love legs.
Trailers.
And here we are.
Talk pulling into the park.
Let's talk about Scorsese's Killers of the Flower Moon.
Y'all, I'm still super hyped for this movie because I love that this trailer is like the complete opposite of that first trailer. If you guys remember the first trailer, it was really dour and very serious. And this one is a little more risque, a little more fun, a little more comedic, little actiony. And this is another Martin Scorsese over 3 hour long epic. That's going to be the gamma of emotions about an Indian tribe who settled on some oil, and the white man come to try to take that oil. And it just looks like an incredible movie. And Leo looks like he's killing it, and De Niro looks like he's killing it. I'm so excited for this whole cast. It just looks like a real ass movie. I'm so excited for it.
There have been some really good trailers this year. I think this might be the best trailer.
It's
like
good.
as far as how the trailer's cut with its music, the shots we're seeing, the way we're being given the narrative of the film.
The music. Yeah.
This is one of the best trailers of the year, I think. I really like it. It got me, like, I was already interested just by nature of a lot of the things that we saw from the first trailer and what it was about and Scorsese doing it. But this trailer like has me hyped. This is a very get me jazzed about seeing this trailer. I really, really liked it. I thought it was well put together. I'm excited for the movie.
Bob Marley, One Love.
So I mostly wanted to keep this here because this features Lashana Lynch, who I love, and Kingsley Ben-Adir, who's playing Gravik currently on Secret Invasion as Bob Marley.
That's right. Okay, yeah.
And I think that's great. I think he's doing an incredible Jamaican accent. I think he's doing a good job of portraying Bob Marley without feeling like an impression.
Yeah.
Just from the trailers. This feels, to me, it feels like he's taking just as much of a stance on how to portray Bob Marley as Edgerton did with Elton John.
Yeah.
This feels very in line with that, where like there's an amount of making it their own and not getting too impression-y, but they've really captured a lot of who the person was.
Yeah.
I also think this is just a good time for this movie.
Yeah.
A movie about Bob Marley, a movie about what his music meant, what his icon level meant for the culture. That seems really cool, and it looks like it's really well made.
Yeah, I can tell this isn't a
Cash grab.
This isn't a Bohemian Rhapsody. This is one where it's diving into his entire life and looking at the good and the bad, and not that like but like it's diving into all the political stuff and not just like he was a groovy guy and this like because that's what most people know him as. So it's cool that it's like no, it is a real one and not like not a cash grab. Like
it does feel like much like Rocket Man. It's more about his personal life first, the music second.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I value that. That looks really cool.
Sure.
Yeah. Are they using Bob Marley tracks for the music, or is it him, or is it Kingsley Ben-Adir singing?
He's definitely I don't know if he's singing in the movie. It was definitely just Bob Marley in the trailer.
For the trailer, what you're hearing is definitely just Bob Marley. If he's singing in the film, we haven't heard it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, very similar to the way Weird Al did his biopic.
I am not opposed to hearing him be Bob Marley and sing the songs in the film, but like I think you have to be prepared for. It's really not. Bob Marley was very unique. It's going to be very hard to sound like
because that
Bob
could
Marley.
be an impression trying to sing like him.
Yeah. And even then, like his voice was unique. I think in talking, like he's able to capture. Again, like I don't feel like he's trying to impersonate Bob Marley. I just feel like he's trying to capture his identity. In the performance, and I think that's the right way to go because Bob Marley, in speaking and singing, had a very unique voice.
Yeah. All right. Mortal Kombat 1, the Lin Kuei gameplay trailer.
Yeah, this just looks awesome.
I'm glad you agree.
Really, really incredible. I'm glad they feel so confident to show just a gameplay trailer this way. It feels like they're really showcasing so much of what this game has to going for it. I feel like there's a sense of polish coming out the gate about this Mortal Kombat. Like they're just doing kind of the laps with this trailer of celebrating that people are jazzed about this game.
Yeah. This was a gameplay trailer, y'all. There's a lot of lore in this one. We already know that Sub-Zero and Scorpion are now brothers in this reboot. They are both members of the Lin Kuei instead of Scorpion being part of the Shiryu. They're not rivals, they're bros. Also, Smoke shows up, and he's an adopted brother. So that's a trio of homies who used to all hate each other. And that's like, man, the new world's great. And it sucks that there's still bad guys around. But it's really great. We still got the robot bros. How does that make sense with this new world? Because like that's like an evil robot Lin Kuei thing. So like, are they the good robots now? Like
I got the impression that those are only cameos. Like they're part of the cameo system.
They are, but like I assume. Oh yeah, they might not be in the game. That's true. I didn't think about that. But
to your point, like the technology exists. We're seeing them functional right now. So like, how did that come about this time?
Yeah,
kind of thing.
That's still true. Like they might. Yeah, they're still in the game in some capacity. So like they're thinking about robot stuff in some way.
The cameos look really good in this trailer. They feature them really well.
It looks so. There's a part where Scorpion uses his get over here on Sub-Zero to pull him backwards.
Yes.
And I'm like, I've never seen that in a fighting game before. That looks incredible. The variety that you're going to have, where you're going to be able to mix and match different combatants together is truly so exciting as someone who loves like experimenting in fighting games, like trying to find the best thing that works. Specifically, like we saw so many X-rays where you see 2 different X-rays happening at the same time. So again, you're gonna have like double the amount of cool X-rays happening, and just so much ultra violence. It looks so graphic.
Scorpion takes off his mask at the end of this trailer, which surprised me because I was like, oh, why can you still do that? I'm so curious.
Yeah, is he? Yeah, in this new world, are you still part demon, or is that just a part of you now? Like that's gonna be really see. Like, what did Liu Kang transfer into this new world?
Is he just Ghost Rider?
Is he just Ghost Rider?
Does he just have like? Is that like a power set he has? He's not a demon anymore. He's just like, hey, I control fire. Sub-Zero controls ice. This is how we do things now.
Yeah, 100%.
Sometimes I'm just a skull. Don't worry about
it. Rain is a fan favorite character who hasn't been a playable main character in like 15 years or something. So like he's the cool water wizard, and I'm like, yo man, using water as a weapon looks super dope. Like the water physics looks great. Like looks like a win.
The physics in general and particles look really good.
Yeah.
Ed Boon used Rain to say that like we're putting in a lot of characters that just haven't been shown in a while.
I'm glad. And like the cameo stuff, like, hey, Kano has been in so many games. Like he's still here, but like we do want to focus on some other stuff. So like we aren't ignoring the fan favorites, but like they're just not the focus, and like that's lovely.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this game. Real quickly, comment section, Ben, if you don't mind.
Already on it.
Pulling it up. If you want to read it as well.
Sure. It's from, I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Shanak? Kale? To me, it looks like Kale. But anyways, their comment is, you guys are awesome. Thank you. This podcast has gotten me through a lot, and I'm so excited for this Mission Impossible franchise watch through. Thank you so much. You're welcome.
Thank you. That's really sweet of you. Thank you.
Can't fight the friction. I love it.
Appreciate that a lot.
Yep. But really quick, going back to Mortal Kombat, this game looks absolutely amazing. That I am ready. I like the second, just all this stuff going, like all that gameplay footage that we did see, and all just like Ryan said, the ultra violence. I'm like, let's do this. Let's go. Let's go.
So like we have so many of the ninjas, and then we have like the robots, and also Frost. Frost shows up, and she's a cool side like lady too. Is like a Sub-Zero. Not what's protege. What's under a protege? The grasshopper. The intern.
There's not protege.
Yeah, the intern of Sub-Zero. Apprentice. Thank you. Anyway, she does a cool heel move that turns like her heels into like spikes and kicks someone in the chest, and I'm like, oh baby, that looks so sick. So I'm very excited for this game. Yes.
All right, Suicide Squad Isekai.
Love it.
Yeah,
love it.
It was just an announcement trailer. Just an announcement trailer, but I have to say I like the animation style.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the animation.
Yeah, in classic isekai style. What if Harley and the Joker got pulled into a fantasy world?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how they're gonna die to get to this said fantasy world, but it's gonna be hilarious. Knowing what Japan likes to do, it's gonna be a good time.
I'm just I really love the designs. Like I really like Harley and Joker's design both. I love that it's like a drawn on smile for the Joker. But you still see his mouth. It's it's not cut up or anything. Like I didn't watch this full trailer when I first saw it. Like I only saw like the first 5 seconds, like when you scroll through Twitter. It's like watching it, I'm like, oh damn, that's just like a goblin. This really is just a Japanese isekai. Like holy shit. Really cool that this gets to exist. Like what the hell is the Joker gonna do with like a bunch of goblins? Like that's really cool.
Yeah, I really like the idea of it. I really just appreciate DC and Warner Brothers willing to go out of America and allow people in other countries to make things with their IP. That's really, and we get stuff that seems super cool like this and super unique, and I'm really happy about that.
Yeah, 100%.
For sure.
The Nun 2.
The Nunning.
The Nun.
It's got a good writer.
Nunning.
So here's the thing. Yes, initially I'd be like whatever, but it's got our gal from Mathregan and Malignant, so at least the script will be dope. I don't know who the director is. I should have looked that
Richard
up.
It's the same director from Conjuring 3 and Curse of La Llorona.
And here's the thing. Here's why Monkey Paw. Here's why this upsets me, because like love Akilah Cooper. so happy that she's writing the script for this one. The guy who wrote Conjuring 2 wrote Conjuring 3. And the only difference between Conjuring 2 and 3 is the director, who is also directing this. And I'm like, I don't know.
Why did we give him the keys?
I don't get it.
He's drunk. Someone take his keys.
That
Shazam
magazine
guy.
stand bit is pretty good though.
What?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, with the flickering.
Oh,
Yes.
that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I like a lot of the imagery in this one. I think it looks kind of creepy.
And our girl Thaisa Famiga's back.
Tai.
Love her.
I think this is a good, like a decent, like, oh, the nun's back. Like this is a good, decent horror trailer. So like, I'm not against it.
Ben, you wanted to say something?
I had something, but I forgot.
Oh, sorry.
Ben's
okay.
Ben's so ready to get back to Valak.
No, I'm not.
I'm so interested in this idea because the nun ends with the gardener dude getting possessed by Vatic, and then we get the new footage of the plays in the beginning of Conjuring 1, where we see the Warrens exorcising Vatic. So in this, that guy is back, and did he let loose Vatic again? Is at the end of this movie, is he just going to go back into Vatic? Very curious about that.
Is it Vatic or Valak?
I thought it was
Vatic.
Valak.
Vatic?
Oh.
It's a D.
No. Oh.
Oh, it's a D.
No, it's Valak.
It's Valek.
Oh, it's Vatic.
They spell it in Conjuring 2.
A D with a D.
Valak.
Yeah, it's what
Is
there's
it really?
There's an L. There's definitely it's backwards. I can't see it. It's
Sorry.
definitely an L.
VALAK.
It's Valak.
I mean, I don't give a shit. Cool.
You just said Vedic like 5 times, and I was like, I don't think
Whatever.
That's the name.
I could.
Yeah.
I mean, I won't lie. I did get
You're right.
Valak and Vecna confused. I thought that was Vecna. Oh wait, no, that's Stranger Things / Dungeons and Dragons Critical Role.
To Brandon's
God.
credit, knowing the name is only like the way they beat the demon in Conjuring 2, so it's not that important.
It's been years.
I understand. It's fine. Like I get it.
What's the insidious demon?
Oh God.
Oh hell.
No. That's sinister. You keep doing this. Bagul is sinister. You
Bagul
keep saying that he's
is
insidious. I don't think they name the demon in Insidious. It just has a fan name, which is the lipstick demon.
The red face demon?
Yeah.
Oh, let me see.
I don't think they gave it a name in universe.
Yeah. Balak.
What's the movie? Insidious.
Insidious.
It just had a new entry. Whatever.
Every time Insidious comes up, Ryan's always like a Bagul, and I'm like, that is sinister.
You're never gonna remember it.
No, it's the lipstick face demon, also known as the man with fire on his face, and red face demon.
Yeah.
Oh,
The man with
Six
fire
Tass? Six Tass?
Maybe the new film finally gives him a name.
Ooh, origin story for Red Face Man.
Anyway, I'm optimistic. I'm hopeful. We'll
Yeah.
see. I like having Thaisa back. I do like that it's about Valak. That's something I liked about the first The Nun. But like, that one was all right.
Yeah.
The reason why I like the first one is because it's fun. Like I personally think it's like stupid fun, which is why I'm endeared to it. And this one kind of just looks boring.
And I think I would like The Nun for that too, Brandon, if it didn't involve what I thought was a very effective and scary demon from The Conjuring 2,
Sure.
and then put it in a like, this one's just kind of for fun movie. And I'm like, well, wait.
They didn't try to make it a for fun movie. They tried to make a good one.
Right. I want the Annabelle creation for Valak.
Sure.
That's what I want.
Yeah.
That's
So
what I
we'll
was
see.
saying. David F. Sandberg did that?
Yeah.
That's what I was saying on Twitter. I was like, how did Richard Chavez get the franchise and not David F. Sandberg? He's done with Shazam.
Now he is, yeah.
Yeah, now maybe he can come back and steal the keys. I'll be honest, like I'm really glad that Thaisa had the Nun and has the Nun too, and that's cool and everything. But like looking at her in this trailer, I'm like, man, they really missed the boat on making a story about the Warrens like meeting and falling in love, starring her and someone else.
Sure.
Because like she just looks like the younger version of her sister. Like she could just play young Warren for like a show or a film about them, like their first cases or something like that.
Too late now.
Yeah.
They goofed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think what I'm hearing is we're all very excited for The Nun 2, so stay tuned for that.
Because there's literally a sequence in here where I'm like, this just like if you told me this was a flashback for one of the other Conjuring films, I'd be like, of course.
Back when she was a nun before she
Right?
became-
Yeah.
Yeah. So when we went to see The Blackening, there's a trailer for The Nun 2 that never was released online.
A teaser, more like
A teaser for The Nun 2, and I was so surprised because like it's not online. It was never mentioned. It's never been mentioned. It was just there. It was. It was like, this is wild.
Yeah.
Wild trailer.
And then the Nun 2 trailer dropped.
Doesn't happen often.
All right.
It's been a week.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? I'll return to the Conjuring franchise for one more movie. We'll see what happens. I like Akilah Cooper.
Why not?
I'll give it a chance.
Yeah.
You're gonna force me to watch this one, aren't you?
Nah.
If it's good.
All right.
I mean, you've watched them all because we did.
Except for Curse of La Llorona. Never. I
that's
did
None
not.
of us have watched that one, Ben.
I have.
You took the stab for that one.
I hate that movie.
All right, Brandon. Your Curse of La Llorona is my Pinocchio. Robert
Okay,
Zemeckis
that's fair.
Pinocchio.
That's fair.
I don't know, Ben. You also saw Morbius.
Oh shit.
That's more apt. I did. Curse of La Llorona is my Morbius.
I didn't
Yeah,
pay for
yeah.
it. I watched it with 3,000 people on Twitch.
Okay.
There you go.
It was a wild
There
day.
you go.
But yeah, you've done all the
did.
Conjuring films, so why not? You know?
Yeah, I don't know. The Nun wasn't my favorite. Well, obviously, it wasn't my favorite. Annabelle Creation was like really
Wasn't
good.
anybody's favorite.
Yeah. That and Conjuring 2, those are some scary-ish. That's some
Conjuring
scary-ish.
2 is so good.
I don't know. I mean, I will say, so we can move on. I will say there are the magazine one did get me, and the whole, and I might be interested because with the first one, like when you see a church, you think, oh, church is safe. Demons can't go to a church. It's holy ground and everything. I kind of like it how even when they go to churches, places that are supposed to be safe and holy, demons just walk among them anyway. It's like, screw all y'all. So
That's
I
Malik's
just
whole thing. That's because
Yeah.
in the first one she's in a church also.
yeah.
Yeah.
She just shows up where she's not supposed to. I wonder. We see the faceless nuns too. That's kind of cool. I like that imagery. I wonder what I was gonna say. Whatever.
Tune in next week.
I mean, if you went to Catholic school and have PTSD from the nuns, I probably don't go see this movie.
Yeah. Oh, we get some lore. She's a fallen angel
Oh.
Mm.
in this trailer. Thought that was interesting. She wants her
Got it.
angel powers back.
Got to make her the biggest badass.
Yeah, so that way when she fights the Crooked Man, it's like really epic, you know. We're
They're
like in the
not-
Freddy.
You're never making that Crooked Man movie.
Yeah, it's the Freddy versus Jason of the Conjuring
They're
franchise.
not
the Crooked
gonna
Man.
do it.
Yo, man, the ring
believe
lady fought the Grudge Boy. So literally anything is possible now.
I'm just saying.
The ring boy fought the Grudge lady.
I've seen the fight. Just the fight. It's really funny.
It's really funny. It shouldn't be.
All right. Shall we move into our main topic?
Yeah,
We
let's
can't
do it.
fight it any longer.
Can't fight the
Short
friction.
news. If we had just done the change this week, we would have only been out of here an hour and a half.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
All right, here we go.
Bum, 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 bum. I don't want to get copyrighted.
I forgot to put the bread and butter dude in there when we were talking about the whatever. It doesn't matter. Can't go back now.
Can't fight the friction.
It's true.
So it's time to talk about the final two Mission Impossible films, Mission Impossible Rogue Nation and Mission Impossible Fallout. We've now caught Ben up completely. We're going to start with Mission Impossible Rogue Nation and then go into Fallout. So full spoilers for both of these movies. If you haven't seen them, you've been warned. But I'm assuming at this point you've probably seen them. So Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, written and directed by Christopher McQuarrie, came out in 2015, and I have no interesting factoids about this movie. So let's go into it. What do we think?
I will
I
start
really
off.
like it. Oh,
I really like it.
I really like it.
As I was watching this film, about halfway through, I picked up my phone and I sent Brandon a text message. That text message was something along the lines of, how do these movies just keep getting better after the last one?
It's true.
And with Rogue Nation, that is true. With Fallout, I will say it's also true, but we're not going to talk about Fallout yet. We'll get there. But yeah, I am also. Before we started recording, I told Brandon I'm kind of mad at myself for taking this long to watch these because I loved Rogue Nation. I had a blast with Rogue Nation. We'll get into it, but yeah, initial thoughts. Absolutely adore this movie.
This is my favorite opening in the franchise, which also has one of my favorite Ethan reveals, where he just like, "Where's Ethan? Can we get this? Can we stop this plane? What's going on?" It's really well cut together between Benji and Brand and Luther, and having that three-way cut go around. I think it's really well cut. And then Ethan runs over the hills like, "Can you open the door?" And I was like, "Oh, we're back, baby. We're back, baby."
Starting the movie with a big stunt. Like, damn, Tom, can't even wait an hour. You crazy.
I really like it. I will admit, I don't know if an opening will ever top the prison opening of Ghost Protocol, but
yeah,
I do really like it. It's a good movie. It's a good movie.
Yeah,
I really. Go ahead, Ryan.
I was gonna say, like, we are now like officially like in the McQuarrie era, where like he and Tom are like, we are the guys behind all this stuff. And like I talked about last time how like what's the Brad Bird one already?
Ghost Protocol.
Ghost Protocol. Thank you. Like, I love the tone, and that is like a more kind of like fun spy movie. And there's a world where it continued that trajectory. But with McQuarrie, there's just something for me that just clicks with me a little bit more. And not again, like I love those movies. It's just something that I love. That it's a little not more like gritty. Maybe it's a little more gritty. I don't know what it is, but it's just something that works really well for me. Where like the addition of Rebecca Ferguson, McQuarrie is so effing good at doing action scenes. Oh my god, dude. The cinematography, like the so much practical location, which all these movies do. It's just like for me, like this is like, oh shit, dude, like we are here, baby. And then Fallout's my favorite. So like, I just like it's so I love this movie. It's great.
I want to say that one of the things that I think is really incredible about this film, especially because like this is McQuarrie's first directed Mission Impossible film. He wrote and directed this one. I really appreciate that essentially this is the same plot as many of the Mission Impossible films where Ethan has to go rogue. The IMF is disavowed. Four disavowed the IMF when the secretary was killed. We're doing the same thing kind of here. And the fact that they're able to do it a second, third, fourth time, however many times they've done it, and make it and keep making it interesting and keep my investment is actually kind of brilliant. And I'm surprised that is so, because I'm not distracted by the fact that like, oh, I've seen this kind of already. I'm seeing new within the familiar, I guess. It's a really good balancing act, I think.
Yeah. And please, Ben.
I will say that, I mean, when I say the opening starts you off quick, I'm not talking about the airplane scene, which I absolutely agree. I was waiting for that, like, because I was seeing the trailer with you guys years ago when this came out, like 2015 or whatever, and I was like, wow, that's probably like a huge part of the film. But the fact that the airplane scene is in the beginning is like, okay, cool, tone setter. But what really gets me is how quick the movie hits the ground, and it just like bolts you right. It's like you hit the word go after the title sequence, like especially when Ethan is there and he's getting the whole like his mission briefing, and the second it says, because we are the syndicate, I'm like, oh, I was thinking he's dreaming, he doesn't know what's going on, all the stuff is like, it has to be, because Mission Impossible likes to make you think one thing and then like, haha, they pull the rug out from under you. It's like surprise. But then when you see Solomon shoot the record store clerk, I'm like, oh shit, this is real.
I want to jump in because I was going to say as to what you were saying, Brandon, about how he keeps it fresh. It's what Ben is bringing up, is that you dive in with Ethan having already been on, the syndicate's tail. And so when you get your mission briefing for the first time ever, it's not from the IMF. You think it is until it isn't. It's the syndicate, and they've been preparing for Ethan. And like, this feels more like I've been ready for you, Ethan, in a better way than like 2.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Right. This is the I know how you work. I've figured everything out because I have IMF agents in the syndicate who have defected, and like you're cooked. Like, we've got you from beat 1. And that really puts you, I think it puts Ethan on a back foot in a way I don't think, like right from the jump, in a way that I don't think any of the previous films had.
Yeah.
Sure. And I want to
With
mention
maybe the exception of one.
Yeah, and I do want to mention that, like, what's really cool about that record sequence, it's really well shot. This movie's really well shot, just in general.
Yes.
I don't know if you guys know that, but you can see Solomon Lane in the background. He's in the other booth. He's
Yes.
in that entire scene.
Yeah.
Right.
And if you don't know who that is, then that's just some dude. And I thought that's such brilliant filmmaking, and the reveal that it's the syndicate's message to Ethan and how it does it. Like, normally the IMF would say blah 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 blah, but we are that. It's such a good reveal and so well done.
Yeah, I agree. I think that Ben's very right. Like, it gets you just right into what's going on in this story. It's just a way we've never had Ethan picked up in a mission before.
Yeah.
Again, with maybe kind of the exception of one, but even this is different. Right?
It's so much quicker in this one too. It's like the beginning.
Well, and it's there's a different drive, which is like the bad guys already have Ethan.
Yeah.
At the start of the movie, they've captured him. And in the first one, while Ethan does end up on the back foot, it's because IMF suspects him of being a traitor.
Yeah.
Which is a different thing. But here you're like, oh shit, Ethan's already caught.
Mhm.
Like, where are we going from here?
And I love that our villain is, again, you bring up too, and it's actually a good point, is our villain is an ex-British super spy. And bro, that dude's too smart. And what I love about this movie is, and I caught it, and it's also in follow because this is now serialized. Fun fact: Tom Cruise notes the MCU for helping serialize Mission Impossible. And it is the best thing because, like, I love these movies and what they're doing with. This is like a better MCU than the MCU at this point, like just the way it's serialized and shit. But our villain is so awesome, and he's so sniveling, and like he doesn't seem very threatening physically, but also like he does get into fights, and he is a super spy. And I'm like, this dude's awesome, and like his like voice alone like makes my skin crawl. He's so good at being like a crazy villain. I just love it, and I love the idea of like, oh, it's the anti-IMF. I'm like, that's such a silly thing. I love it.
I thought Philip Seymour Hoffman was my favorite villain until I met Solomon Lane.
Yes.
Now, like, I mean, with this and Fallout, I'm like, no, he's like the best.
The
of my
1-2
villains.
punch.
It's I'll be honest with you, Ben, because like I don't want to dip too far into Fallout, but it is the 1-2 punch. Like, if I went just off Rogue Nation, like when we were rewatching Rogue Nation, I'm like, this doesn't cap Hoffman to me, not in performance.
Yeah.
Like, he's definitely getting like as far as like how he's written to be pervasive on Ethan, like it's definitely a grander threat.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But Hoffman brings that performance
He
so
does.
heavily. But like it is him having the dual performances of Solomon Lane that put Solomon Lane a little bit up. Though I do notice like just this like really different tactic on the neurosis between this and Fallout, which I'm not saying is a bad thing, but like, he very much shifts how he's handling the character.
That's true.
Yeah. I don't want to go too far into Rogue Nation, but I will say the scene that just like got me or one of the scenes that cemented Solomon as one of my, I mean, I will not lie, it does go back and forth between Hoffman and Solomon, where they finally catch Solomon. He's in the glass box and he's just constantly shooting in the bulletproof glass. And just that actor, his facial expressions, like the sheer rage and anger that he is expressing, but he's not expressing it in a normal way. Like when you see rage, you furrow brows, just like constantly yelling and screaming, but he's just shooting and futile shooting, and he's just like, and when the gas fills to him, just like clamoring just to look at Ethan. I don't know what it was, but just that performance where he's in the gas cloud trying to fight getting knocked subconscious or trying to get out of consciousness or whatever, that was like, this man has hate.
That's a mirror from the beginning of the movie too. Yeah.
He's a pretty generic bad guy, to be honest with you, except that what Sean Harris, right?
Yes.
Does with the performance is create a character who feels like there's no way he can lose.
Yeah.
And so when he loses, he takes it deeply personal. And this does carry over to Fallout. Obviously, like, he's personally vindictive, like after a vendetta
It's
against
so much
Ethan.
more personal.
But also, again, the same thing, like, end of Fallout, I'm convinced I cannot lose. And it's what's good about what Harris brings to the role is that conviction of, I'm obviously in control, and how flustered he gets when Ethan has him over a barrel in the last bit, because he just could not have possibly anticipated Ethan destroying the disc and memorizing it.
Yeah.
He just never in a million years would have thought Ethan would ever go that way.
True.
Because little did he know that Ethan has developed a new superpower, which is like photographic memory.
Yeah.
Three-dimensional thinking, if you will.
Yeah.
I love. I agree with everything you guys are saying about Solomon Lane, but I want to mention Alec Baldwin is in this. He shows up as Director Huntley from the CIA. Huntley, and that's kind of a cute, cheeky reference to the fact that he was Jack Ryan in The Hunt for Red October. So CIA spy with IMF spy. This also sets up the kind of CIA versus IMF thing that McQuarrie plays with in both movies. Which I think is kind of interesting that he's playing with that idea. But Hunley is the one who gets the IMF taken down, and he go ahead.
I was just gonna say, which importantly, like, CIA is not a fan of IMF to begin with.
Yeah.
And as Hunley references it, ever since they broke into a CIA place in the very first film to steal a bunch of names, like, I thought that was a really good way to organically be like, yeah, CIA is not a big fan ever since they did that.
And because like the IMF also, like, they can do more than the CIA. Like they have the gadgets and the fun stuff, but
he's jealous.
I think Hunley is actually a really good character that I liked following in both of these movies, and he's in one of my favorite scenes in the whole franchise, which is the best line in the whole franchise. Hunt is the living manifestation of destiny.
And right now you are his target. Cut to Hunt's reveal. Hunt.
Yes. Very good. That's such
zoom in and everything.
That's such a great moment because you're like, Ethan's in the room. Who is Ethan? Like, if you haven't seen the movie, it's like, which one of you is Ethan?
Yeah.
The thing is, like, what I realized watching these two this week is what McQuarrie has managed to do is, like, these movies should be cheesy.
Yeah.
They should be too cheesy. But somehow they just aren't. And, like, they're doing all the things that should make them too cheesy, but they just don't feel cheesy.
He's doing it all, like, in, like, it's serious earnestness. Like it's very much like, we know what we're doing is ridiculous, but like we can have fun with it when we have fun, but like we do take it seriously.
But but even with the like zoom in and the hunt, like, it's a funny beat, but it's not a funny beat that breaks the movie.
It's a different type of comedy.
It doesn't break the tone of it.
Yeah.
In a way where, like, some James Bond movies couldn't escape this and felt too cheesy.
Yeah.
Mission Impossible 2, frankly, in my opinion, couldn't escape it. But something here, he's able to inject that kind of feeling without letting the movie feel like it cheapens itself by doing so.
And if you look at Renner's performance in that scene, also, it's very kind of he's kind of becoming a little over the top. It's like, Athlete shot me. Yes, he did, sir. Now the prompt is like he's kind of playing up the scene a bit, and he's kind of fun in that way. But again, it doesn't break the movie. They're walking a really fine line with that tone.
I'm a noted Jeremy Renner hater. I think he's fun. I think he gets better in each one of these movies.
You know what I think it is? I think it's that McQuarrie knows how to guide the actors to center their performances around Cruise, because Cruise himself can be cheesy.
Yeah.
But because of the way that he orchestrates the film around Cruise, that doesn't feel cheesy. And therefore, when the other actors are meeting that level and working in it organically because he's crafted them to, they also don't feel cheesy.
Yes,
because they are meeting Tom Cruise on that level.
Yeah, this is a movie where one guy pulls out a flute and turns into a sniper, and then a woman pulls out a gun from a scaffolding, and then Tom Cruise is like, "Who do I shoot? There's two assassins." And
there's another guy pulling out a submachine gun out of a nightstick.
And the scene is both hilarious and tense.
Yes.
Yeah, I wanted to say that, once again, Tom Cruise proving he's a very good physical actor. There's the scene when he gets blown into the airplane, right? When in the beginning.
Oh my god!
Oh,
what a shot!
Oh,
and he does the guy comes down, and you just hear, and you just turn around and Hunt's there like, and like he does not a word, and he's just kind of like, yeah. It just fails.
I actually love. Oh,
Well, I was gonna say that like real quickly, Ben. Just like I just think Cruise like proves once again how physical of an actor he is. That's just because he can be really funny when he wants to be.
Yeah, I wanted to also highlight another scene that I thought was absolutely hilarious. That I thought it was funny, but also it, like Spark said, Christopher McQuarrie knows how to ride the line between cheesy and not cheesy, and still make a really good, intense movie. One of the scenes I loved was when they're in Morocco, and then the motorcycles zoom by, and then Brant and Luther in the car, and they're trying to turn around. And it's like, you just had to get the
high speed chase. High speed chase. You just had to get the 4x4.
And they're just bickering, and also I'm pretty sure it was it this one or Farlow where they're in a car, they drive past each other, and then Benji goes, "Hey!"
That's this one right before what you're talking about. The 4x4 is where he crashes in. There's a moment where they just look and they're like, and then they have to go.
Because like Ethan is still out of it because he was just dead 5 minutes ago, and he's
right.
He's talking about
this movie. This movie is like funny. Some of the Fallout's even funnier. Like there's some really good shit in both these movies, and I'm like, it's not as overtly like haha. But it's like it's all really good. It's like it's a lot of good physical stuff. Like Brandon said, like physical comedy.
The Moroccan sequence is especially the chase sequence is so funny. And like, right. I wanted to mention because Ryan brought up Renner, and I'm not really a Jeremy Renner hater. I quite like him, especially when he wants to be a little bit more funny. So here, I think he's great because he's able to play with this version of Brant, and he's able to kind of play off of Tom Cruise, and the Luther Brant dynamic works in a way I didn't know I needed.
I really like them. I like that scene where they meet each other, and Luther's like, "I know Ethan. I don't know you." And like his loyalty to Ethan is so strong, but Brant's like, "Look, I swear to God, I'm on your side. I need you to do this." The way that they get on board with each other is really good. I actually think the movie uses Renner really well. I think it was a really smart decision to take him back to the role we start with, where he's assisting the secretary, and put him back in the position of like kind of trying to manage what's happened to the IMF rather than being, another Ethan Hunt out there. He's got field skills, but I'm glad they don't try to push him into that mode. Like he could be out there, he could be doing some of the action, but like they don't try to have him be side by side with Ethan. They know that he works better for the franchise in this role.
Sparks, I can neither confirm nor deny without the secretary's permission.
It's good. It really works for him. It really works for his character to be in this position, and I really like it. I think it was a really, really smart choice.
One of the other things I absolutely love about this, and obviously with Fallout, because like you guys said, Rogue Nation is how the Mission Impossible films started becoming more serialized, and the events of the past have consequences for the first one. That Senate hearing, when they when Huntley, Alec Baldwin's character, straight up says, is like, yeah, we're not big fans because they broke into the CIA to steal stuff, and they mentioned what happened in Ghost Protocol. They're mentioning stuff in other movies, but even though they're just mentioning stuff in other movies, to me, because a lot of those events have consequences, even though they're not major consequences, they're still consequences that the IMF and Ethan have to go through in these movies.
Fallout.
And like Hunley makes a really good case that I think is accurate, where he's like, to be honest, some of their successes from a gathered perspective look a lot like chance and luck. And he's not wrong. Like they have, Ethan's good, but like a lot of it has come down to just getting very lucky.
His superpower is luck.
That's what the next film is. It plays off really well. It's like we hope and we got lucky.
Yeah. And I think that's very valid to put it in this perspective of like, while you are rooting for Ethan, you are on Ethan's side. We have followed him. He's our protagonist for the series. It's not like Hunley's cases here are wrong. No. The IMF, especially in the hands of Ethan with the way they handle missions, like Hunt just believes very hardly that he will get the codes back in Ghost Protocol. And so it's okay that they get the real codes. And Hunley's like, that is effing insane. You understand that that's crazy? A missile clipped a building because of how close you cut it. Like,
I cannot confirm nor deny.
It's a valid argument, but it doesn't change the fact that it's a thrill to watch Ethan do this shit.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I like seeing Alec Baldwin's kind of trajectory, and to what Ben and Sparks was kind of playing off of, and I was kind of saving this note for Fallout, but McQuarrie has such reverence for the previous entries in this franchise. It feels like he has been the shepherd of the entire franchise when he hasn't. Every entry has been written by, up until this point, a different person, and so you have him really like tying it all together in such an organic way that makes it feel like one cohesive franchise, even though the first 4 entries in this are largely standalone.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think like it does feel that with Rogue Nation, McQuarrie came in and looked at all the previous Mission Impossible and said, what works and what doesn't. And I'm
Yeah.
keeping what works, and I'm not going to deal with what doesn't. And what works is the thing that we're gonna focus on and keep plugging away with. So like what is great about Ethan, what's great about Luther, what's great about how these characters rely on each other, how these characters connect to each other, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I also have a note related to that I'll save for Fallout, but I think McQuarrie like really gathered an idea of kind of boiling down formulaically like what is the strongest stuff inside of the Mission Impossible franchise, and then how can I take that to the next step.
Is this the one where with the locks where you put it in the door and you see the lock,
Yes.
lock? Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Every
At the-
time,
at the
dude.
opera.
Every time, I love it.
Oh, the opera scene. But actually, one of the things I wanted to, what I really enjoyed about Mission Impossible 1 through 4 was that they were anthology stories in a way.
Mhm.
As in each one, as Spark said, they're their own story, they're their own thing. They might have a quick little mention, but with these two, obviously, while it's not a bigger cohesive narrative, they're still more or less standalone.
Mhm.
It does help watching the other films.
Yeah.
And it's not like one of those, it's like, oh, you have to watch all these films to understand what's going on in this film. You don't, but it kind of helps.
It helps
mean-
because we get a better picture of who Ethan
Mhm.
is as a character. When we
Yeah.
get to Rogue Nation and Fallout, especially, we know what the line Ethan is willing to cross and what he is doing this for largely.
Mhm.
And so that is the value that McQuarrie kind of went to by being like, oh, well, I'm looking at what works. What works is Ethan is pretty consistent. Not so much in 2, so he discounts 2, but like, he is pretty consistent all throughout, and he builds on who Ethan has been built
Except the
so
rock
far.
climbing.
Except the rock climbing does come back.
I think the other thing about it is that he zeroes in on letting the world and the characters acknowledge the history of who Ethan has been and what Ethan has been put through, whether that's through Luther or through this comes out more directly in Fallout, but like Solomon Kane is pushing an argument to Ethan like, you should really just be part of the syndicate too. How many times have they screwed you over?
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
fair, like it's a fair argument to bring up at this point.
It's true.
That like the majority of the previous Mission Impossible movies are someone, if not the entire IMF, kind of screwing him over.
I
Yeah.
bring up Solomon Kane and the Syndicate again. I really like the idea of the Syndicate, where like England was like, we want an IMF, so we're gonna make the Syndicate. Solomon Kane, help us.
Solomon Lane. Sorry.
Solomon Lane,
I
not
said Kane.
not the 18th century vampire hunter man.
Lane.
Solomon Lane, like, hey, we want you, Solomon Lane, to be our Ethan Hunt. And he's a sociopathic man. He's like, all right, this is not going to work. We're canceling this. He didn't cancel it. He kept it around. He's like, I'm going to do my thing all over the world. I hate governments and shit. So like, he's going to kill a bunch of people, and that's great. I think that's great. I think it's even better in Fallout, like the direction it goes in Fallout. But like, I just think he's a really cool villain. I just like the idea of like, so many missing or dead agents joining this rogue nation. Like, again, I hate bringing up bringing up Metal Gear Solid. Like, that is the entire plot of Big Boss's thing. Is he is a man who wants a nation for soldiers, because like the military industrial complex spits out soldiers and kills them, and like he wants a place where they can live freely and be mercenaries. He's also a mass murderer, so he's a bad guy. So I'm like, sometimes these people shouldn't be in power like Solomon Lane. Not everyone can be an Ethan Hunt, and I think like the show's like, Ethan Hunt is really special. That's a special dude. He has super luck powers. Thank God for that.
And kind of speaking to some of what you're saying with it, I think that no, I lost it. Go ahead, Brandon. I'll find it again.
Well, I was gonna shout out because I think we kind of passed over the opera scene, which I think the sound design in the opera scene is incredible. The way they kind of mute some of the people's sound effects and just have the opera music playing, which becomes part of Ilsa's theme later in the movie, which I really like.
I love her.
Good.
I was going to say, I think everything about the opera scene is so well constructed. I think the use of the location, how they compose the shots, where they are throughout, like the building, where they go, how
The
they
big
travel,
man fight.
all of that is really, really excellently executed. And it's so like the antithesis of the theatrical scene you got in Quantum of Solace.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
One of the things that's so interesting about that scene specifically is it also showcases probably some of my favorite gadgets in the whole franchise, which is the flute gun, the flute rifle, which is incredible. The laptop in the book.
Yes. In the pamphlet for the opera is a laptop.
So good.
Yeah.
Some of the best gadgets are in this one.
Yeah.
And then as Ryan mentioned, the key gadget is my favorite also.
Yeah.
It's the way they use it.
I love Simon Pegg in all those movies that he's in.
Mm-hmm.
Like when Simon Pegg is on his laptop, is like, join the IMF, see the world from the basement. Simon Pegg's just an absolute treasure.
Real quick on Simon Pegg. Sorry, real quick. He was playing on his 3 Dell monitors, Halo 5 Guardians.
I saw
they
that.
wanted you to make sure. Did you guys see that I was playing Halo 5 Guardians out this November? And I'm just like, man, sometimes marketing is really funny.
Speaking of Benji, what I think makes Rogue Nation so special and work is while we have our team, Luther and Renner are separate for a lot of the film and trying to be supportive and find Ethan, but they are separated from him. And Benji also is for a time, but catches up. And so you get a lot of Benji and Ethan time and them in the field, just the two of them, which feels really nice. And then of course Ilsa getting on top of that, but like just putting those two on their own,
Benji
feels really good.
Thought he was going to the opera. My guy. Oh.
Poor guy.
Benji has a moment where Ethan's like, you need to go. I'm sorry I wrapped you into this. Here's what you say. And he has this moment to stand. It's like, no, I'm your friend. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I really like Ethan's like, okay, we're doing this.
Yeah. You're right. I am a field agent now.
Regardless of what I might say on the polygraph, you are my friend.
Yes. Good liar. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say he had me believe him. I was like, you don't really think that, do you, Benji? But you have to cover it.
Yeah, because there's a blip at the end, like there's a little blip, and you're like, "Ooh, Benji."
Yeah, Benji. The scene I really want to talk about. Then when I was watching it, to me, I was like, this is one of the most beautifully shot chase scenes I've ever seen in my entire life. Was the motorcycle chase scene through Morocco?
Oh yeah, dude.
For sure.
That scene was so well shot. Because there are times like I'm not like that stereotypical guy that whenever you see a car chase, I'm like, oh yeah, car chase. I mean, car chases are cool, but you've seen a whole lot of them.
Yes.
This one, I was on the edge of my seat. I was 100% engaged. I was like, my heart was racing when they're bobbing and weaving throughout when the syndicate goons are shooting or when Ethan like gets them to trick into getting hit by other cars. The whole thing with Ilsa when she steps out in front, and I'm just like the whole time sitting there going, they had to have hired MotoGP racers for those stunts because that is some crazy shit.
Yes, but also like there you can watch some behind the scenes shit of Tom Cruise doing that shit too. He is a truly an insane person.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
And he can hold his breath for 6 minutes because of this movie.
That's the thing is like that motorcycle chase scene is gorgeous. I think that the dive into changing the memory card scene and that cutting between that and Benji about to walk through and you know what'll happen if it can't read him.
So tense, dude.
Is the most tense scene that they've created since the first one. Sure. I think it truly captures the same kind of like a modern new version of what the first one was trying to do in a way that none of the previous Mission Impossibles, to be fair, didn't really attempt to do.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody tried to recreate or outdo the first one. And this one I feel like brought us back to that tense heist. Oh no, here we go. And you know, like while we're hearing the sound of the water, otherwise it's silent.
Yeah.
Scene.
And again, we have a beautiful moment after where Ethan almost dies, and we get great comedy of Benji's like, that was so easy. I was like, barely an inconvenience, as Ethan is literally dying in front of him. I'm like, oh right, I wasn't doing the hard part.
Well, and they do a good job of letting you know who Ilsa is, right? Even as she will she will screw them over in the next beat.
Yeah.
She saves Ethan. And like from her saving Ethan, like, okay, Ilsa's not the bad guy.
Y'all.
Yeah.
There may be
Ilsa-
stuff going on, but she
yeah.
is not the bad guy.
Ilsa Faust is
Rebecca Ferguson
is the best thing to happen to this franchise in such a long time.
She's so
because we've gotten like new characters here and there, but like she is just such a talent and such a force. I also just love her in Dune. She's just incredible, and she's a vampire lady in the Dr. Sleep movie. She's great.
So real quickly, I want to go back to the tank sequence, especially after it, because Ryan mentioned we get a really good scene after that, and we get a really good scene with Benji, which is really interesting, which is really good because when we're setting up that heist sequence, and I want to talk a little bit about the heist, which Benji is like, oh, so we need to hold your breath for 3 minutes. You can do that. And Ethan, and it's like, oh, you need to hold your breath for 2 minutes, 3 minutes. And Ethan's like, I guess so. Like, he's like, why are you telling me I can do this?
Volunteering him for it. Like, Ethan can do anything. And Ethan's like, I think that's very good. I also noted, because we watch these so close to each other now, and I'm very curious if Dead Reckoning will continue this trend. When McQuarrie gets behind the wheel, we always get one imagined how it'll go sequence.
Oh yeah,
which is we get the one where we think Benji has put on the mask and what he's doing, but they're actually imagining how it'll go. So Benji still doesn't get to put on a mask in this movie.
That's true.
No.
But then like in Fallout, we'll get it again when Ethan's imagining what he'll have to do to get Lane out
to kill all the cops.
And we come back, and I find it interesting. We don't get that a lot. The imagined how it'll go sequences.
Imagine Dragons.
One of the things that I find so interesting about heist sequences is the setup, because on paper, if you were to be like, hey, okay, so we can use that. Actually, you can't use that because it's da 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 da. Okay, we'll do that. Well, you can't do that because da 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 da. It's like you're making things up as you're going along, but because you've got like cool heist music and it's well shot, you're like, okay, so we can't use the hash because okay, and you're setting up all these problems, because you have to pay them off later.
Yeah,
you have to pay off all these problems that are going to go on. So it creates this like really interesting tension, and just like I think McQuarrie gets like what's the word I'm looking for, which is the oh boy, skeleton of a heist sequence. Skeleton's not the right word, but like
Foundation.
Yeah, I guess we're kind of in the same ballpark with Foundation. Yeah, he kind of gets the foundation of what a heist sequence needs to be, and that's just really cool, really fun to see.
Yeah. I think McQuarrie. These are like all the Mission Impossible movies are complicated to some degree, just a little spy shit. The thing that I super appreciate.
It was DNA, the DNA of a heist sequence.
There you go, DNA. What I really love about McQuarrie is that both of these two movies are almost overly complicated with the amount of times that like Solomon Lane is 3 steps. Solomon Kane, goddamn it. Solomon Lane. No, it's okay. Solomon Lane is 3 steps ahead. That's what he thinks. What you want to do is what he thinks we got to do. There's a lot of that stuff, like trying to be 3 steps ahead, and like in other movies, that's really annoying. And I've watched shows or TV shows where like your villain is so smart, he's always 3 steps ahead. But like in these movies, like it all always makes sense to me, and I feel it. It never feels like a stretch. I just think like the overcomplicated nature of these types of movies, like I think they flow really easily in these two movies, because like they can be really confusing about whose side you on. Elsa switches sides every 5 minutes, but I think the trajectory is very easy to line up for every character for both movies.
I want to second what Ryan is saying, because I also agree that when there's like, oh, you have to think 3 steps ahead. This guy's so smart. He knows where your every move. It's like he has ESP or something. In other franchises and other films and television shows, that can be annoying. It's like, for crying out loud, no, they're not. But this one, but Mission Impossible, especially Mission Impossible, I'm like, I'll lump all the movies in it for this one. You have to think all that step ahead. But even when you, as an audience member, think you know what's going on, and then they do the famous mask reveal, every single time, in this one, and especially in Fallout, we'll get to there, I am just like, oh, like when the mask comes off, like when the major plan is revealed, I'm just like, oh.
Yeah, I think what's really interesting, what's really good about how the Mission films just in general are written, we get, because Ethan's such a strong character, he it gets to play a really obsessive version of himself here that gets played up for us to believe that maybe Renner would second guessing the plan that they're going to come up with. And he has this moment because he's like, Lane's already thought of all this because he sounds like a madman.
Yeah.
But he's right. And that's what makes Lane so scary, is because no one believes Ethan that this person could be this bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I love
Except Ilsa.
Yeah, I love,
Except Ilsa.
and I love, and I forget the Ilsa's British guy, like the evil guy who
Atlee.
Thank you. Yeah, like when he shows up, I'm like, oh, this guy, I can tell he's bad news already. And I love that, like, I love that the phone is under the newspaper, and she put the thing on there, and like that's a very specific, that's very specific that had to happen. And I'm like, that's just spy shit. That's so fun that like he knew that was gonna happen or whatever. Like, I think all that stuff is really fun, and you have to go with the flow of like coincidental type stuff. Like, what if she didn't put it directly on top of the newspaper? Like, would those files have been deleted? Like, I don't really care. It's just fun. Like, I just like it's just a go with the flow fun.
I think you're absolutely correct when you say that Rebecca Ferguson is one of the best things to happen to this franchise. She's incredible. Her scenes with Ethan are great. There's one moment in Casablanca, Morocco, whatever, when he and she are talking about what this heist is going to be, like setting up like this is the list of all the people that Lane has in his service, and Lane sent me to get it. Benji is talking in this scene, but Ilsa and Ethan never take their eyes off each other when they're talking to Benji. I thought that's such an interesting character choice to just see that kind of level of trust that they've already built in such a little time.
It's I don't know that it's that Ethan has ever, like, he's definitely met other cool super spies, but like to meet someone that obviously he's attracted to, but like someone that's on his level, that like understands the world that he lives in, that's not someone like his wife. Like, I think that's like just like not something that you get to experience in life very often. So I think there's just an immediate like you are almost like belong in my life type of feeling.
I think what it is with her introduction, Ethan knows the same thing he knows is true about himself, which is that Ilsa is a person who is doing this job because she cares about saving millions.
Yes.
But she also won't do it at the cost of a good person.
Yes.
And Ethan is also that person, because it's the choice she makes about coming close to blowing her cover to save him that is like, this is what I would have done.
Yeah.
And I think that's what ultimately endears him to her.
They're similar, yeah.
Is that she has that same compassion that Ethan has.
Yeah.
Sick ass scene also where he's just like screw it and hooks himself up over the pipe.
God, yeah, like the salmon lighter type thing from Arrow almost. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like her. I'm glad she's carried over this long.
Same.
I do want to focus a little bit more on the getting the Prime Minister scene, because I just think that sequence is so
Prime Minister Cutler Beckett.
Yeah. I think that's such an excellent scene because, like I said before, like that Ethan is in the room somewhere. He's one of these people. You just don't know who. Yeah. Alec Baldwin kind of realizing who Ethan Hunt is in the moment of being like, there is no person he cannot become. There is no thing that he cannot do. He's the greatest person in the whole world. He's the living manifestation of destiny, and he has made you his mission. One of the greatest lines in cinema history. And you're like, okay, well, you're not Ethan. And but then Atlee shooting the Prime Minister and revealing to Ethan, you're like, baby, yes.
The way and the again, like, it's very funny, but Hunley's Hunt delivery lands so well because Hunley has been talking about Hunt this way, and then they are finally brought face to face in this scene. Yeah. It works so well. By the way, shout outs to the lead into that scene. If you look in the car lot before they head inside, there is an Aston Martin, very particular one, parked out front, which is cute and cheeky and fun.
Sure.
It is because Spectre filmed in the same location.
Oh, that makes sense. That's cute.
Yeah, okay. The 6 months bit where it's like, mark your set your watch, Brand. Ethan is living his last day as a free man 6 months later.
6 months later.
Very good.
And also like the whole takeaway that they think he's in Cuba, and then he turns out he's in Paris the whole time, and it's just like
And I really like the Syndicate reveal, and once again going back to that greatest scene ever, where he's like where they're like something called the Syndicate, and the Prime Minister's like, Atlee, tell me they're not talking about that syndicate.
Yeah. Do you mean our syndicate?
Right. Yeah.
And he's got
that's-
that. And he's got this moment. I think that's such a good reveal.
Yeah.
Yes, and then Hunley being like, the syndicate is real.
Yeah.
The myth.
I think that's really good. I really like. I really can't stress enough that I think Pegg plays with Cruz so well.
Yeah.
I think he has in the previous films, but like they're just in a groove. That I think they were in a groove last time, but like they play so well together. Clearly, Cruz has a good time, or he wouldn't keep doing it.
Yeah.
With Pegg in all the movies, constantly having him be the voice in his ear, and the way that they banter to each other.
Yeah. Making him a field agent was such a good idea, because there was a
Yes.
world where he was just like another, like Luther goes into field too, but just like Benji is just the tech guy, and he's just like the Flash, like from the Flash, like, oh, I'm just sitting at the computer all day. So
They
like,
have done a good job of diversifying this sense of like they are both tech guys, but their tech's expertises are different.
yeah, he's like,
and, and like one can do the field work more than the other.
yes, yeah.
Right. There's and we get like Luther once again being one of the best characters in the franchise. There's a bit when Ilsa and Ethan they're sitting together in the mall area, and Ilsa presents him with all the options, and then presents him with, or we can just leave. And you hear Ilsa's theme play a little bit, and then you hear Luther go, "Oh boy,"
Yeah.
because he's like, "Oh shit, this could work."
Yes. It's a similar feeling to the end of the Batman with Batman and Catwoman. We're like, we can get out of here, and I'm like, Bruce, say yes.
Yeah, and Luther knows that, like, oh shit, Ethan could say yes.
Hell yeah.
I really like how that scene is shot, by the way, like how we get the other people in the ear, and then like when Elsa's like, you knew the disc was blank, and we hear Benji first say, no, that was an exact copy. But every camera angle not centers, but like we can see either Luther, Brandt, or Benji at every camera level until we can't see Benji.
Yeah.
When he's captured. I think that's such a cool framing device.
Yeah.
And Corey's a goat. He's the goat.
Okay. There's a sequence. Sorry, I really like this movie, so I wrote down some things I really liked, which is when they're running through the streets of Paris.
Nope,
Paris?
that's Fallout.
Where are they run? Whatever. Before they get Lane into the box, there's Ilsa and Ethan are running through the streets, and they kill two people in a car in front of them, and then both jump over the car.
Yes.
And I was just like, that's sexy as hell.
Yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
Because the setup for that was earlier after Ethan comes back from and he crawls over the thing.
Oh yeah.
And
After his heart stops and he gets juice backed up, and he's like, I'm totally fine, and starts running and stumbles. Yeah.
I love so much Benji being like, well, you were just dead 5 minutes ago. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Yes. It's really good. I really like that sequence. Ben mentioned the motorcycle chase being really great. It's the car chase for me, and I'll tell you exactly why. Because of the drift into the two motorcycles and then hitting the dude with the other car, which is so good.
That is good.
It rips.
I love that sequence because it's just such a cool like drift motion. I like that movie.
Some things I highlighted are I think this was an example of just the humor still being good, is like when they come down on the rope from the opera and the thing was loose and then it falls behind them. But what I really like is that Ethan just wound his tie very quickly around his hand and used it so he could get down that rope. I thought that was slick.
Yeah.
A great scene between Ilsa and Lane, where she says, "Are you questioning my loyalty or my ability?"
Both.
And then he was like, "Can't decide."
Yeah. Can't decide.
I thought that was really good. It's a strong Lane setup scene. Yeah, I really, really love Benji insisting to Ethan that he is his friend. Like once he knows what's going on, he's like, "I'm staying. That's the end of what we're talking about." That, and like Ethan's like, "Yeah, okay,
Got
Got it.
all right." Jeez, why are you getting so upset?
I am an FBI.
The scene at the end in the diner in the restaurant when Benji is talking as Lane is a really tense and good scene.
Yeah, it's very good. It's
I really
very
like
good.
I really like at the end of it when they're going to take Ethan, and he's like, if they come any closer, shoot me. And Ilsa just immediately like,
Yeah. Like she gets the exact same thing he's doing. It's like, this is how we put Lane completely off.
It's also fun that he literally says, "I'm going to put you in a box," and he really does. He really does.
I love it. Benji in the car when Cruz is chasing the motorcycles for the first chunk, and just like scared out of his wits, just stairs.
Oh, there's a lot of bumpy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I like the bit when they're backing up really fast. They're like, you have your seatbelt on? You're asking me now?
Yeah. When the
And
car
just
flips
barrels.
over, when the car flips over, which is a great action beat, and then it sits there for a bit, and then Benji like, what happened?
Yeah, this is a good movie, guys.
It's true, every word.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anything else?
No, I can't fight the friction on this one.
Rate it.
I think the score is pretty good in this one, but I do think I still prefer Ghost Protocols over this one.
Yes.
For just music. It's hard to top Giacchino being jazzy.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree for this movie. Yes.
I outside of Ilsa's theme coming back and using the opera riff, that I agree with that. I like that.
It's a good score.
Yeah.
It's not a bad score by any means. I really like what Giacchino did with the previous one.
Oh yeah.
Well,
I really love the scenario that they set up for Baldwin with Atlee. Just highlighting that. I think the way that they talk him into it is like, and this is what you did. Yes, exactly. And he's like, I'm very grateful. It's a really good way. And like the turnaround at the end on how Hunley becomes the secretary is, I think, an excellent like beat and end to the story in this.
He
movie.
tried to take him down, then he joined them.
That's what the IMF does, baby.
Yeah.
And just a last shout out for the actor who played the Bone Doctor. I think he's just one of the best henchmen we've had.
Oh yeah, the Bone Doctor.
Yeah,
Like I
franchise.
saw.
I think like just like every time you see him, like you're pissed off.
Yeah.
And I think he's just one of the best henchmen that we've had for one of these guys.
Yeah.
In the movies.
There's a great line where he talks where Ethan in the restaurant sequence at the end says, you'll have to use the Bone Doctor to get this out of me. Where I was like, oh yeah, baby, this is good.
Bone Doctor. What a reputation.
Okay. Shall we? So rate it. So Ryan, because you said some final thoughts first, why don't you rate it?
I will give it. God, these are all good movies, man. I'll give this a 9 out of 10. This is a great movie.
Sparks?
Yeah, really solid entry. I think it's really fun. I think like it just misses the mark of perfection for me. It's just a little below. I think Lane. I like the performance of Lane more than I like the actual characterization, like the character motivation of Lane. And that's one of the big things that like holds back for me. But otherwise, I think it's really, really solid. I give it the same rating I gave Ghost Protocol. It's a 9.
It's a Gross Protocol.
Do you know what rating I gave Ghost Protocol?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Well, whatever that rating is, let's say it's 9. It's 9.
I'm sure it was something 0.5.
Let's just say it's 9 now. So yeah, I'm a 9 as well. This is a great movie.
Yeah, nines across the board. This movie was great.
Can't fight the nines.
Okay, so then let's move into Mission Impossible Fallout, aka Mission Impossible 6. Once again, this came out in 2018. Once again, written and directed by Christopher McQuarrie. He is the first director to return to the franchise.
Nice.
And my interesting factoid about this movie is that he didn't want to. He thought it was very important that every Mission Impossible film was directed by a different person. He felt that was the joy of these films, is the different creative voices. And Sean Harris, by the way, was supposed to die at the end of this movie. That was in his contract. Sean Harris did not want to do a franchise. He didn't even want to do this movie. They convinced him by saying, you can die at the end of Rogue Nation. But the way McQuarrie told it on the Empire podcast is that he had this idea that Ethan needs to break Lane out of prison for some reason. He hadn't quite gotten the whole thing, but he had that idea, and he went to Tom Cruise, and according to McQuarrie, Tom Cruise turned around before McQuarrie could even say anything and said, "I got to break Lane out of prison in the next movie." So then they had to convince Sean Harris to return, to not die at the end of Rogue Nation.
I refuse.
But like he said, he thought it was very important. So that idea convinced him to stay on as director, but he hired a whole new crew in order to make it feel like it was a different movie than Rogue Nation.
That's cool. That's fun.
So what do we think of this one?
This is my favorite. I love this movie. I personally, I think this is almost like a perfect action movie. Like, and the fact that it's 2.5 hours long, and like for me, it's like a breeze. I think it has the best action. I think it has the best like cinematography. I think the villains are a great 1-2 combo. I think like Tom Cruise just like continues to impress me with everything he does. Like he is so committed as a performer. Like that dude just like wants to entertain us so badly. And I love it. I think this is a phenomenal action movie.
Sparks?
Just excuse me real quick. Just copy, paste.
Love it. I didn't know that. That's great. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
This is not my favorite in the franchise. It surprising even me, is still Ghost Protocol. But this is a great movie. Once again, another excellent Mission Impossible film. I don't think from 3 onward there is a bad one, and I can't imagine that Dead Reckoning breaks that trend. So yeah, I love this one. I think this one's awesome.
Look, if 2 weren't there, this would be a all good franchise.
Yeah.
Oops, all bangers.
Yeah.
All good.
Yeah.
Even I think 2 is better than the most of the reputation it has. It's not the worst movie I've ever seen.
Sure.
Ben, what do you think about Fallout? First time watching Fallout?
How do these movies keep getting better than the last one? It is not fair. I don't want to say this is my favorite. I actually feel, I mean, now obviously we haven't seen Dead Reckoning, but I feel like Rogue Nation and Fallout are really good back-to-back films.
They really are. They pair very nicely together.
I mean, I don't know if this is a cop-out, but like Ghost Protocol, Rogue Nation, and Fallout, they're my top 3.
Yeah.
I love these movies. Ghost Protocol was like, it was a great time, but with Rogue Nation and the start of Fallout, where you get the dream sequence where he's getting married to, like the second the Paramount logo disappears and you see, sorry, I'm just going to dive right in. I hope that's okay. The second you see Ethan and Julia, the fact that they brought Julia back, I was like, oh yay. And I was like, wait a minute, what's going on here? And
right, because you think because you're kind of clocked into it being a dream sequence with Julia being there. You're like, this is when they got married, and then it's Lane, and you're like,
but
what the?
But we've watched the film recently enough. We know that's not when they got married.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true.
Yeah, because they got married.
So we know. If you remember, you know this is not how this went.
You declare these two to be married.
And then once Lane starts saying all like to lie to her, to live your double life, and all this stuff, and then he goes, what? And then of course when it goes to Solomon, because I had no idea, because I mean I thought they just gotta put it was up to Rogue Nation, it was standard bad guy either dies or gets thrown in jail. That's what happens. And then when it cuts to Solomon and it's like, you should have killed me when you had the chance, I was like, oh, so
they
what
all
happened?
die,
so I was like, okay, so he's being haunted by the events of the last film. All right, cool. But then when Solomon gets back into the fold, I'm like, oh,
don't go too far.
No, I won't go too far. But this movie was great.
So the first time I watched this, I didn't realize that this was the same character, that Solomon Lane was the same character, because his beard, it was incredible, and it just completely changes his face.
And the lack of glasses.
And he functionally changes the performance, which is fine. Like the character can be affected by what's happened to him.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like such a huge departure from the first film that's a problem, or from the previous film that's a problem. But it is a different performance, let's be honest. Like it doesn't have the same like eye twitching he's kind of energy that he had.
Yeah, he's less offensive and more defensive in this movie.
Yeah.
I really the opening has once again a mission, your mission should you choose to accept it, where we have the introduction of the apostles.
Mm-hmm.
And so the opening of this movie also kind of is a thesis statement on just Ethan in general, which I really like. I like that McQuarrie is really interested in who Ethan is when he is presented with the option to save the uranium or save Luther. To him, that's not an option. It's save both. But
Yeah.
if I have to save anyone, it's Luther.
Yeah.
And I really like that kind of conflict that he has, which Hunley rightfully says it's his greatest strength.
Before you get too far down that, because I do have things to say about that, I did want to highlight like the apostle stuff. What I think is so great about doing the apostles, doing the still fall out of the syndicate, like getting Lane did not mean the syndicate was done.
Yeah.
Is it again, like, not to be too mean to Bond, but like it feels like a better execution on Spectre.
Oh, 100%.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
like on the idea of here they all are, and they are all individuals with goals and things, and they work inside this organization, but they are all dangerous. And so you kind of have to be concerned about the ones that are still out there. Like, it's not just over because Lane went away.
Right. We get the introduction, or the named introduction of John Lark, which we know who that becomes. But yeah, I really like how they set up Ethan in this film, being this idea that he's not a person who will trade lives ever.
Right.
Especially of his friends. He will not, like, to him, as Hunley says, to him all lives are equal, essentially, right? I didn't mean to say that.
And to your point, that being like, again, Macquarie having looked at all of the films and like, what is a through line of Ethan? This is who Ethan is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And this is who Ethan has been since Mission Impossible 1. We made a mention of it when we were talking about the review there, that like very quickly we see that Ethan is unwilling to give up on the lives of others. Like that's the whole thing. Like, why is John Voight able to pull the trick on him in that movie? It's because he leaves his position because he's unwilling to sacrifice people on the team for the mission. And that's who he's been from the beginning. And I think they do a good job of bringing that here, but it's also something I want to highlight about why I love Ving Rhames in these movies so much and why I love Luther, is because Luther has also consistently been a person who said, Ethan, I'm never worth more than the world.
Yeah.
Specifically him. He
gets the mission.
He is always like the general population being saved. That's the most important thing. 100%. And he's been like that voice of like, Ethan, you have to be the person to save the world, regardless of what happens to me.
Mm-hmm.
He's done that time and time again. So I really like that it's put directly in front of us at the beginning of this movie of it's Luther, and Luther saying, don't do it for me, Ethan. Not for me.
And this relationship that we now have with Hunley, who has now joined the IMF solely because of Ethan Hunt, because of how much he believes in this dude.
Yeah.
He's like, Ethan, you really messed up by allowing that plutonium to get away. But I know you're such a good person that you're gonna fix it all. I'm not really worried, because even though you caused the problem, I know you'll fix it. Because if not,
Right,
then the world will.
and that's what he's confused about, the CIA director, the new CIA director, who's Angela Bassett.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know her name. I'm gonna look her character.
And she
Erica Sloan.
Sloan. She comes in and she's like, we don't trust you that you're going to do this. And Alec Baldwin's like, hey, look, I was there too, but you know what? I was wrong, and you're wrong too. Let's let this dude do his thing.
I've been in your situation. I see how you see it, but trust me, like, this is actually on purpose. They're good.
Yeah,
They're
which
good.
I think this is one of. Oh yeah, I guess I haven't seen a lot of his performances. I really like Henry Cavill in this one. He's very
Love
good.
him.
I honestly like. I also haven't seen him besides like his early like Hellraiser 7. Like it's his DC stuff, and like and Man
And
from
Witcher.
Uncle and Witcher. And I think he is good. I really like him in this movie.
He's really good in
He is so good at being like the big macho American assassin, who also is our bad guy.
What I think is so
Yeah.
good about Cavill's character in this film is that he never feels like they do such a good job of not making him feel like he's the same as Ethan. He's a threat. He's dangerous. He's good at what he does. He's not the same as Ethan. though.
Ethan is a scalpel, and he's like a hammer.
Right,
Yeah.
like Lark is good at the killing.
Yeah.
But he's not as resourceful as Ethan.
No.
And like I never feel like they try to even them out in a way. I feel like it's always that Lark is constantly put out of spot because he can't anticipate what Ethan will do.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's consistent and well written, that like Lark can be good at getting up close and personal and finishing the job.
Yeah.
But he can't predict Ethan, and he just can't. He's not that kind of guy. He's not resourceful enough to do it. He's not able to utilize his environment the same way Ethan is. He's just not that sharp. He's not sharp enough not to get caught.
Yeah.
Like that's what it comes down to. And I think that's really, really good.
Another incredible thing. Yeah.
Yeah. The whole Henry Cavill of it all. I mean, by the way, quick little thing. When I was watching this movie, I was watching with Zara, and she said, when she saw Henry Cavill, she's like, "Oh, mustache gate."
Yep.
And I was like, "Damn, I can't believe you remember that."
I honestly, when I finally saw this movie, I was like, that's right, the mustache.
Looks good.
And
Looks very good.
It does look
And
good.
it's beautiful. It's beautiful. I love it.
Yeah.
I love his
He-
facial hair.
Worth
I mean-
every. Does that this mustache is the reason Warner Brothers has fallen?
This mustache has been the cause of Warner Brothers' downfall, indeed.
No,
Because they
Warner
spent
Brothers
300
downfall
million.
was greenlighting a Justice League movie
I know.
before BVS.
I just
had
want
fully
to
come
say a
out.
mustache is the
No,
problem.
for sure. You know, since we're highlighting Cavill, I do think like Cavill works for me in such a way of feeling like he feels so real, like a real person inside of this agency, like a real double agent, a real, like, I don't have all the information to outcraft Ethan at every turn. Like I've got my knowledge and skill set, and that should be enough to carry me through. No shit, it's not.
Yeah.
And like that really makes him feel in a way stronger as a character, because he feels just as fallible for the same kinds of reasons as Ethan. He feels just as human.
Yeah.
Which is something I don't think they've nailed with villains in the past. Again, like I said, like the idea from the previous one was a better execution on like the idea of Mission Impossible 2, like being able to know everything Ethan would do. But this character in particular, Lark, is the better execution of the villain from Mission Impossible 2.
Yeah.
He might not do the exact same job as Ethan,
Yeah.
but like he's in the same circle of work, and he feels like a real person who's limited by his skill set in the same way that Ethan is at times.
I really appreciate that he's the one to deliver, because he wants the CIA to suspect Hunt as being John Lark, and he says to Angela Bassett's character Sloane, how many times has Ethan been disavowed, been betrayed by his government? And to someone who doesn't know Ethan, yeah, that does sound bad, but to us, the audience, Ethan would never do that. That's not who Ethan is.
Also, what I love about rewatching this is that you can clock, when you know it, you can clock he's John Lark from this scene. Because the way he is so intense about delivering the speech, he's like, think about how many times he's been disavowed, this and this. How many times until a man has said he's had enough?
Well,
And like, you're talking about another guy. Why are you so angry?
well,
bro?
and not only that, but that Corey does such a good job of framing the moment when Ethan pulls the phone out of who he thinks is John Lark's pocket, so that we see that it's smashed.
It's smashed.
And Ethan can't use it, and then
Yep.
we focus on Cavill specifically saying, "This is the phone we got off John Lark," and that's not the phone, which
Yep.
means you don't necessarily know for sure he's John Lark, but he's full of shit.
You know he's messing something's up now. Yeah. Love
The
it.
bathroom fight is incredible.
Obviously,
Man,
Pumping
like,
them
some of the best
pumping them
action
arms.
scenes in the franchise are here.
I think this has the best physical fight, and it has the best chase. I think the stuff happening with Ethan escaping and with Ilsa, like Tom Cruise like getting hit on a motorcycle, all that shit, like the truck and stuff, like all that shit is incredible, dude. It looks so good. It's like it all looks so real. Like they are really. This is like I enjoyed Indiana Jones, but like half the time that looked like I know it wasn't real. Like this is some real ass practical shooting.
a lot of the chase stuff that's done in this movie is actually done on the streets of Paris, and you can tell.
Yeah,
And it looks really, really good. It looks really, really, really good. Go ahead, Ben.
When they're driving around the Arc de Triomphe, and I'm just like, how the hell did they get one of the busiest roundabouts in the entire planet so they can shoot this movie? How did they do it? How
Well,
did
John
they do it?
John Wick 4 is green screen.
Yeah.
For the Arc de Triomphe. But I think I don't know if necessarily going around is actually there, but the lead in and lead out,
Mm.
that is real.
Yeah,
I'd have to look into if the actual going around the Arc de Triomphe is
Yeah.
real or not.
Either way, you're right. The action scenes in this film look absolutely incredible. I was like, I love the motorcycle chase scene in Morocco, but I will agree that the chase scenes in this one are also just, you're on the edge of your seat the whole time. Like the second when Ethan slams the gas to knock the armored car into the water, and starts the whole chase, all the way to them awkwardly opening the garage door to see that random police officer writing a
Yeah.
ticket. I mean,
I love the moment with that police officer because because Ethan is very clearly like, leave.
Just walk
You-
away.
Well,
You
and
don't wanna be here.
you know, without knowing that Walker's a bad guy, right? He does know Walker will shoot her.
Yeah.
Like just from knowing Walker's profile, that's the kind of thing. It's like, and it's again
pulls
like,
his gun out,
kind of
yeah.
going to the Mission Impossible 2 thing again. Like, you know, Ethan had an idea of the bad guy. Like Ethan has an idea of who Walker is,
Yeah.
and how he'll function, and he knows. You know, like his I think his fear genuinely in that moment is it's both what the cop will do in that moment, like if she'll pull a gun or something, but it's like, and what she'll do with it. But it is a concern that Walker's going to shoot her, and he's like, I really need you to just go.
Again, this goes back to like I won't trade lives.
Right.
And when she is shot, he retaliates to the people who shot her and then makes sure that she's okay before
Yes.
leaving.
Yeah.
Dude's like a for real. He's a superhero, like for real.
Yeah.
Like he's such a good person.
Now, before we get too far into this, we do have to talk about one of the most important things in this movie and one of the best scenes, frankly, which is that Benji finally wears a mask.
Yes!
And it's Wolf
you.
Blitzer.
Oh my dude, that wolf scene. I forgot that entire I forgot all that. I'm like, man, they really
I remember sitting in the theater and it's like nuclear attacks that have hit, and because Tom Cruise is selling the performance for Ethan, that this has happened and pissed him off because he feels like he failed and that there were 3 nuclear attacks around the world. And I'm like, oh shit, Mission Impossible has changed forever.
That effing scene. There are 2 scenes in this film that got me so good. This is the first one because the whole time when that dude wakes up in the hospital bed after Ethan loses the plutonium, and you see him wake up and you hear the Situation Room theme, whatever. And I'm just saying, oh, this is why it's called Fallout.
And it's so interesting. It's so interesting because of how it's framed, right? Because the Wolf Blitzer sequence, we don't focus on Wolf Blitzer like he's a main character. We focus on it like he's background noise. And I think that's so brilliant to frame that.
Yeah, I really love that. Between this and Rogue Nation, like McQuarrie's really run a gamut on like the mask technology, the fact that it couldn't be used in the previous one because frankly that place built security so good to anticipate that technology exists.
Oh, their facial tics.
And so you have to like know the walk and everything in the gate, and then you get to this one and a lot of the goal is like hoping to copy John Lark's face and they can't, but the Wolf Blitzer thing works, and it works because it's kind of like when it is revealed it's like a fun gag, and those always land with the mask bits, and then when you come back around for the mask again in this film, you're not ready for it because you feel like you've gotten your mask gag, it's such a good built into reveal moment, but not too big, if you know what I mean. Just the way that like every director I think since 2 has been good at measuring like how do we use the mask, where do we use it and why,
and they're all different,
they all find their own ways or to not use it, to the credit of 4. And I think McQuarrie finally personally pulling his trigger on how I'm going to use masks in this one is done very effectively.
There's a similar moment to 4 in this one when they can't get the mask, the face after John Lark, when they're like, okay, we'll just go in and hope they haven't met, and Walker's like, oh, you mean hope? And Ilsa's like, yeah, it must be new. But like that's the same thing, like we just have to hope they've never met each other. We did that in 4. Let's see if it works again.
Oh, right. Vanessa Kirby's also in this movie. Oh my god, so many wonderful people.
As something I didn't catch, Max's daughter. Max from the first movie? The older lady who helps Ethan get the money on the train?
Definitely did not catch. No, I definitely didn't catch that. Okay. That's awesome.
Because I remember that she was related to someone from the first movie because McQuarrie was talking about it, and then this time when I was watching it, because I've watched them all in such quick succession, she's like, "Let's talk about my mother." Max was such an interesting, and Ethan has a look like, "Oh, Max."
That's right.
And I was like, "Oh shit, that's really cool."
That makes sense why she's connected to the world in some way. Sure, yeah.
Yeah, I did not catch that when I first saw it. Now that you said it, I was like, oh shit, I remember now.
And I'm very happy that she and her brother are returning for Dead Reckoning.
Hell yeah. Her French brother.
Yeah, she's so good. I love Vanessa Kirby. I think she's excellent. So having her in this franchise is really fun. I especially love her like being kind of into
being a bad boy.
The idea of whoever she thinks Ethan is.
Yeah. Yeah, she's also like doing the double agent thing because she's actually working for the CIA and like
Mhm.
she's just like, oh, you're a bunch of murderers. This all seems very fun.
And I love her getting on board with Ethan's like, are they here to kill me? Are they here to kill you?
Yeah.
Either way, right now, I'm your best shot out of here.
Yeah.
All right, I want to go home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Oh,
think
great
she's
knife fight. Great knife fight in that. The bunch of dudes attacking. Good. Just great stuff.
We just going back to talking about like the guy they have that they trick on the bed in the hospital and all that. I get a little confused, and I really tried to pay attention in this film about whose ideology it's supposed to be.
It's Lark's.
Right. And like
It's
it the weird thing is that like I really like Henry Cavill in this movie. I really like the performance of him in this movie. I never get the idea that I can connect the dots on that manifesto to who he is.
Sure.
It presented in this film. I'm like, these things don't feel like they completely one-to-one line up. It feels more like it should be the manifesto of the other guy who's in the hospital bed. Like the way the characters are presented. I know that they say it's Lark's, and so I was ready for that. And I'm like, man, I just don't totally see this guy who wrote a manifesto in Henry Cavill.
Sure.
Sparks, I'm just saying, ripped people can also type on a typewriter.
That's not what I mean.
Can you imagine?
That's not what I mean.
My fingers are so big.
This is a big dude. Just like
I
can do
feel
this.
you. I get that. Like definitely that the doctor's like, this is Lark's manifesto, and if you read it to the world, that's enough. And then like to counteract that, like when it is revealed that Lark's like, when I wrote those words, we really don't go more into that than just like he hates the government. So like it is this kind of thing. Like he is just like a better version of the MI2 villain.
That's kind of the thing is that I didn't need him to like have a scene with Ethan where he like expounds on why this is his belief system.
Yeah.
But I do think you had an opportunity for him to say it to Lane.
Yeah, that's true.
And like I just feel like I could have used a little bit of that like oomph of like you are saying like there's a villain in here who has like an ideology, because we have broken down that like what Lane was after was like breaking the system, and he wanted money to do so in the previous film, and now he's just about revenge.
Yes.
And he's just kind of like attached himself onto what Lark wants to do, and he's like, well, that's a perfect way for me to go about doing this.
Yeah, Lane definitely seems like more unhinged, and like by the end of the movie he's just ready to die with the bomb.
Right.
He's like, my mission's complete, the world's gonna suck after this.
You can't stop me.
You can't stop it.
Oh, damn it, they stopped me again.
Damn it.
The second mask reveal that we've alluded to a little bit, when it's revealed that Benji is actually Lane, it's so good because you don't see when the switch happened.
Right.
And when Alec Baldwin is like, when he kisses, like, I'd give you a loaded gun, but this one's loaded though.
Yeah.
Takes out another gun. I'm like, dude, he's like, I got the guy.
You were doing so well up until then.
That might be that Lane one might be my favorite mask reveal too. And it also happens again in Fallout. Like,
the thing is that it's a good reveal. It's a good play. I think Harris does a good job of like when it starts to break of playing Benji.
Being Benji?
Yeah, like when Benji loses confidence.
Yeah.
I think he captures it. Again, like it showcases Lark really well. Like Lark is confident and hot-headed, and so like he takes too long to think of what Ethan would do.
Yeah.
And I think that really plays for the character. It's really a solid beat, and it also is like my favorite bit of Baldwin in the entire film.
Good acting, sir. Yeah.
He gets killed by a stab in the chest, and I'm just saying, if this was the Star Wars universe, it wouldn't even be a scratch.
Yeah, there was real quick because I'm about to say something. They like when that happened, Sparks and I were like, "So did he die? They didn't show his body." And then Angela Bassett's like, and Agent Hunley, who always believed in you, speaking in the past tense. Nah, he's dead. He died.
I was going to say that second mask reveal had me just like bewildered, like because you don't see the switch, you don't see. That was what I was talking about, how these the mask reveals in Fallout are my favorite ones because they completely subvert your expectations. You're constantly like, who's who? You're like second guessing everything, and I love it. Like obviously everything just goes like tits up for everyone else, but the fact that like for a small second, like when Henry Cavill is essentially talking to Lark, is like to Lane, and saying like, I wrote this disc, I need this plutonium, I need X, Y, and Z, and then the fact that he gets got, but then it has his own trump card because he had members of Syndicate in that strike team. It's like I know this is a win for the character for the heroes, but I know something really shitty is about to go down right now.
The go moment when they think they have Lark and he says go.
Do you?
Which parallels the moment the first mask reveal with Benji as Wolf Blitzer when he says go, and then they because that's in it. I don't know. It's a nice parallel. I like it.
Yeah. It's the oh, we got him.
Yeah.
Oh, do you?
And again, this is one of those things where like this movie, when you look at it, it's like really complicated. Like we just had like a reveal, and then upon another reveal, and like, but it all it flows so naturally. Like, I'm never confused. Like it all. It's just really well crafted.
And I think the good thing that these films do, especially this one, but in general, is that they never. While they will have other characters doubt Ethan, they never let you think that.
Yes.
And like it's not just because you follow him, it's because you always see the flaw, even if you don't get all the information. You see the flaw in why they think that.
Yeah.
So that you are never put in the position where you are doubting Ethan. And I think that's where it would get too confusing.
Yeah.
If you had to, like, in that scene, like, question, like, oh God, has Ethan lost his mind?
Mm-hmm.
Has he made up the syndicate? Has he? You never have to be in that position.
Yeah.
And I think that's really smart, because that's where it gets too muddled, when you have to like doubt. You have them grounding you.
Yeah. I love our final confrontation in the location that it's at, bringing Julia in, like the ultimate revenge. Like the second that Julia sees Ethan, like, oh man,
He was here for
man,
he was here on vacation.
Yeah.
No, I'm working.
No, I'm working.
And like that being the clue in for her, like, oh, shit.
Like the I'm so sorry when they speak for just a second.
I really like bringing back Julia, because again, like it talks a bit about what I talked with like Rogue Nation. McQuarrie like really likes this franchise and really likes playing with the pieces that have already been set up in this franchise. And so when Julia shows up at the end of this movie, and Ethan, they have a moment where Ethan's like, "Oh shit, I'm so sorry."
To be honest with you, and it's because of the use of Julia in this film that made me like retroactively think about it. But credit where credit's due. As much as I have to say it for RSI and Kurtzman on Mission Impossible 3, the smartest thing that was done in the franchise at that point was make Ethan fall in love and get married, because it changed the character going forward to not fall into Mission Impossible 2's I'm a playboy in every movie bit.
James Bond.
Yeah. So we dodged getting a repeat of James Bond, and therefore made Ethan feel like a more sincere, compassionate character, because you can't have him be the compassionate person they want us to believe he is if he's constantly just like passing from woman to woman in every movie.
Very true.
And I think they like swerved out of the way of the bullet that Mission Impossible 2 was possibly heading them towards.
Yeah.
Right.
By making that choice. And I think that was very smart to do at that moment, because even if Julia wasn't directly referenced in every single film, or they weren't together in all the films, the idea that is who Ethan was at heart has lingered ever since, and has informed on who he is ever since, and is coming up again with Ilsa. Like I love her in this movie, and kind of spoiling my rankings, one of the reasons why this film is higher for me than 4 is mostly because of Ving Rhames, because this film I think accentuates that Ving Rhames is like, he's like the voice to Ethan's heart in the movies. And so when he's absent for a lot of the movie, I do feel it.
Yeah.
And having him here, it's one of my favorite scenes.
Him and Julia?
Is him, that's a good one, but him and Ilsa.
Oh, yeah.
When he's sitting there and he's saying,
in
the time I've known him, Ethan has only been serious about 2 women.
Yeah.
And he gets teared up when he's like, and the way he cares about you, I'm afraid for him, Ilsa.
Yeah.
And I think that's really great.
Yeah.
I think like the way Luther cares about Ethan is what helps convince me about who Ethan is.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I really like that sequence. Ilsa's introduction in this film, so she's been tasked by MI6 to kill Lane as a test. And
prove her loyalty.
I really like when Lane and Ethan are driving through the streets, just the two of them in the road, and after they see Ilsa, Lane has the line, "That was Ilsa." Interesting.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't know what's going on, and he's just like, what have you done, Ethan?
Yeah. Ilsa and Ethan have a great like little moment like in between, like during like an orchard, the garden, and it's just like beautifully shot, because it's all like the symmetrical trees, and it's just like they have such good chemistry. And again, these are 2 incredible actors, and it's like they're saying so much without saying anything. All you have to say is like, "Don't get in my way, because I will go through you." And they want to say so much more.
So much of the beginning is Ilsa is not talking,
Yeah.
Ethan is gleaning what's going on by what he already knows about Ilsa, MI6, and kind of what the situation is. So he
Yeah.
puts it together without her even saying a word.
Yeah.
How do you know that? Why are you here?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good stuff from Ethan. Again, like specifically citing the garden scene, like that is really using Paris very well. I think like both for action and for scenes like that, the locations in Paris are very well utilized in this film. I think this is one of the most gorgeous of the films because of how well it uses its locations, whether we're talking about like the finale with the helicopters, which is beautiful.
Cashmere. That's in
or Paris or what have you. I think like the locations look incredible in this movie in a way that like just stand out even above all the previous Mission Impossibles.
100%.
Even Rogue Nation.
The helicopter chase scene, I was like hooting and hollering, cheering for for Ethan to get up to Henry Cavill's to Walker. Oh man,
I really like real quickly, Ben, because like the best part about that helicopter sequence for me is I always love it when they remind us that Ethan's crazy. Because then there'll be because like what are we gonna do? Play Rock'em Sock'em Robots with the helicopters? And yes, that's exactly what Ethan's going to do. He is going to ram them.
First, he's going to try to drop some cargo on him and miss. And then
but as soon as that doesn't work, he's going for him. And like I love the trying to get him off this tail because Ethan does not matter that Ethan is also in a helicopter that will crash. He will crash into them.
Also, Ethan doesn't know how to fly a helicopter. But he's just super spy. He's like, all right, gotta check the altitude, check this, gotta go up.
I love that crazy son of a bitch just being like fallible because he's like, all right, payload, and like takes it up above, tries to drop it, misses, and he's like, God damn it.
Yeah.
He even has a great line like, hold this for me.
Yeah, hold this for me. That was another mission accomplished moment. Just like, hold this for me.
Missed it
shit.
That much.
Yeah.
This movie is just really well shot in general, but one of my favorite shots of the movie is when they lock the camera in the back of the truck that Lane is in as it's tumbling into the water, and so you don't see the car turning, you see the water turning.
Inception.
Yes.
It's the Inception thing.
Yeah, it looks really, really good. It's a great looking shot.
This really is like one of the best looking big blockbusters I've ever seen. Like for real.
We highlighted it in Rogue Nation a little bit, but the imaginary sequence for this one where Ethan imagines going with them and like trying to hang to the back, not kill that many good people, police in his mind, good people, innocent people, and then still ending up having to shoot a cop in the face to sell it, and he's like, I can't accept this.
Yeah,
I can't do it that way.
New plan.
I like Walker's little character beat where is it true that Lane did this? Is it true that Lane did this? Is it true that Lane did? You're like, dude, no,
everything
you heard is true.
If it makes your skin crawl, it's a yes.
Oh, son of a bitch, you're the guy that caught him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's such a good reveal because nobody would know, and he's like, "Oh, you're the guy that caught him."
Mm-hmm.
There's also the running chase, where Ethan is running after Walker.
Yes,
incredible Tom Cruise running once again.
Yeah, the like I'm jumping from a window. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I was in 2D.
Sorry, left. I'm sorry. I had the screen flipped. Oh, I was in 2D. Oh goodness.
The lady that just gives him
and then
the lady who's like, yeah, go for it.
Jumping on the bottom of the elevator and Cavill just staring down at him.
Yeah.
Really good. Really good.
He's like, dude, like, what are you doing?
There's when he's in the office building and then he's like, left, right, left, okay, and he sees the girl gets up out of the chair and he's like, thanks, and he like throws the chair through the window. But the best bit is what Ryan highlighted, which is the older lady just going like, well, you gonna jump?
Yeah.
Wait, right? Turns it around. Sorry, I mean left. Like, you're still going out a window, man.
Like even earlier when he was
out a window.
Or even earlier when he was like going up the stairs and Benji's
why is he running in circles?
Exactly.
You can see this is a bloody movie, man. Yeah.
There's a lot of comedy that comes from Benji, I appreciate that Benji's kind of like this the comedy the comedic relief of a lot of these films, but also he gets like really good moments. You know what? blanket statement. All these characters are really well written.
Yeah,
I think Simon Pegg gets a lot of the verbal jokes, but there's a lot of like physical comedy that goes on. Like to the credit of Luther, like Benji being like, "Why do I have to pretend to be Lane?" And Luther's just saying, "They're like
skinny,
yeah.
skinny whiskey white man.
I physically cannot be this man."
Technology is not there yet.
So Benji gets to do two masks. Gets to be masked twice in this film, you know, well done payoff from the entire franchise, where he's just like, I get to wear a mask.
So many masks. Look at that. Yeah. Man, we get just a wonderful, obviously, like we talked about the helicopter chase, but a final fun confrontation with a not a two-face Henry Cavill, but a third-face Henry Cavill. And the way that he punches in this movie, he's just like, huh, huh, huh. Like it feels like if he punched me, like I would explode. Yeah. Like fist up the North Star, I would literally explode.
Yeah, Cavill feels big, bulky, and strong. He's waving them Superman arms around.
Oh yeah.
I really, really like the way that the two, before like Lark is revealed to be, you know, what he is, just Walker and Cruz in general, when they encounter each other, the way that they banter about each other's way of doing things and job and business. And then of course we didn't talk about, but the jump, you know, out of the plane into Paris.
Oh yeah.
Just an incredible scene. You know, like, are you afraid of lightning? Shit, unconscious.
Oh my God. I forgot. Yeah. So he gets struck by lightning and Ethan has to save him and he gives him his oxygen tank, but then he wakes up and when he lands, he's like, oh, it looks like you lost your oxygen tank. I'm like, oh my God, the balls on this man. Did not even know he passed out.
Yeah, but the Halo sequence is incredible. I love the transition from letterbox to IMAX.
Yes.
Which is so good because they shot the two kind of big stunt action sequences in IMAX, and the transition to go into the Halo jump was really awesome.
Yeah, the first time they do it for the Halo jump and the helicopter chase, they like bring the aspect ratio purposefully open, and then you lose a little bit of that effect in the helicopter one when you have to keep cutting back and forth.
It does,
unfortunately. But it still looks gorgeous. So like on my TV, who gives a shit? It's huge.
It's true.
I did want to also highlight, just speaking of transitions, there's some really nice ones in here that are like through smoke, or Ilsa walks off screen and her hair carries the scene into the next bit. A lot of really smooth flowing transitions in this one that I think look really good.
We talked a little bit about Julia already, but I really love that she goes to help Luther.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Love it.
I think that's
How
a
can I
great
help?
character moment.
Gets there.
And just like the way that they play with each other, and then Luther at the end, like, you know, you don't deserve to be here, and like, go be with your husband. There's nothing more you can do.
Yeah.
Paul. What's the husband's name? The actor.
Wes Bentley.
Wes Bentley.
Wes Bentley.
Yeah.
That's the actor.
Dr. Paul. Seems like a good guy.
Oh, I wonder if he won't be in the next one.
Oh my God. See, I made the joke that this was his villain origin story.
Yeah. See you around, Doc.
Yeah.
He knows. Like,
Doc,
yeah, he knows.
The second he's like, yeah, your friend over there showed up with half the Indian army. See you around, Doc.
I love, like, we've had a couple Mission Impossible movies where like it ends with like 1 to 2 seconds left. And I love that this one, it doesn't end with like 3, 2, 1. And then like it cuts to white. And it's like, I mean, I know we didn't just like blow up half the world or whatever, but like what happened? Well, and it's cheeky,
especially coming down on the sun.
Yeah.
To make it look like there was an explosion.
Yes.
And then like bringing it back in,
the
and you're like, no, they did it.
Vista that you see, and Tom like he spits out the thing that he had to bite. Like, how close were we? How close? We were always. What does he say? Like, too close?
Usual.
Like,
the usual.
Yeah.
Love
it.
The when Ilsa does come back into the scene, and Ethan hits her with the, you shouldn't even be here, and she's like, and you should have come with me.
Which
is
wants
really,
him so
which is
bad.
really good. I really like that.
Yeah.
She cannot fight the friction.
I wanted to say real quickly on the fade to white kind of sequence, at the end when they say, I really appreciate that they can't talk to each other. They can't talk to Ethan. He's out of range. Yeah. And I really appreciate that they're like, I guess just on one we go. And if we're right, hopefully we just got to trust Ethan.
It's what other choice do you have?
First, they're like, okay, we're going to do it on 2. Why are we going to do it on 2? Do you really want it to be that close? Like, we're about to die. You guys.
We all have to agree.
Yeah.
I really love the the tenseness of it, the tension of the whole sequence, and the absolute faith in Ethan Hunt that these people have. Like he'll do it. He'll do it. We'll win. We will win.
The bunker scene where Hunley does catch up to the team and you get like a lot of expositional reveals. I think it's still delivered very well. That like what even is the plan? It's like, well, Benji's going to be Lane.
Oh yeah.
And then he has to explain to everyone that Ilsa's on the scene because not everyone knows that Ilsa's on the scene trying to kill Lane, which he now knows. And then we get the explanation that the White Widow was part of a trap working with the CIA and all that. I think that's all done very, very well. Baldwin's like really, really good in this, but I mean, it's a shame they killed him.
Yeah, it is.
I liked having a secretary we could reference to.
Yeah, me too.
Ooh, I wonder if we're
it's-
gonna get a new celebrity secretary for the next movie.
I wonder if it's Kittredge.
Oh, he comes back around. I don't know
Because
if
he's in Dead Reckoning. Would he be the secretary now?
I don't think you could become the secretary 20 years after you've been the secretary.
Well, he wasn't the secretary before. He was just the director of IMF.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
So he could have gotten a promotion.
And now he hates the IMF.
Or yeah, he could be a bad guy.
Why was the director of IMF working in the CIA?
Which one?
Him, Kittredge.
Kittredge wasn't CIA. He was IMF.
Here's IMF.
No, I know. I'm saying, why was he in the CIA building?
Oh,
He's in
because-
the building when they're stealing the list.
Yeah, because the IMF has in that first movie, like in the show, the IMF is supposed to be a division of the CIA.
Right. Yeah, I thought that was the case, right? Like they're operating out of the CIA,
Yeah,
and now
yeah,
we're
yeah.
supposed to believe that they've been extracted.
Yeah, they
Become
have their own
independent.
office space now.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. No, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I have much more to say about this film actually.
I've fought the friction enough. I think it's great.
I'm just scrolling through some of my notes, and
Yeah.
like it's highlighting Michelle Monaghan being excellent. I'm so glad that she got to have this like comeback and closure with Ethan's story.
A good
I think
send-off.
it's really, really good. I think it makes a lot of sense, and it retains a lot of the heart and humanity of who Ethan's been since she showed up.
And I love that, like, Ethan, like, you see the guilt that he has. Like, and he starts crying like, Julie, I'm so sorry. It's like, Ethan, nothing happened because you were here.
Yeah.
I this is my life, but I know I'm safe because of you. So, like, I don't have to worry because I know you're always there to protect me, even if we're not together for 10 years at this point. Like,
It's
that's beautiful, dude.
It's a really interesting way to frame Ethan because she's like, the world is safer because you're in it, and I know that because I know you're in it, I will feel safe forever. And I really like that kind of character beat and framing of Ethan, because Ethan is this lunatic who will just do whatever it takes to save the world. He is the goodest man in the whole world.
Yeah.
He's
Crazy man.
He's the goodest crazy man, and you're just like, yeah, I believe it. Like people will never know what he does for them, but they
Yeah.
are safer because he's there.
Oh, it's crazy to think like how far Lane went to hurt Ethan. Lane set up an entire like humanitarian everything in Kashmir to get Julia there. That is some 8th level thinking. Like, holy shit, that's a lot of work to get like the doctors without borders involved in that shit. Like, man, Lane, you are sadistic. That's a villain, dude.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to highlight the action beats for Ilsa and Benji in fighting Lane in the cabin.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's a really great action scene. The two of them teaming up against him. It feels really, really down and dirty and
Benji holding his own for a little bit, but then no, you're not quite the spy.
and desperate, and like, you know, like Lane's got the bits like when he's getting the peg on the rope, and he's got like one where he like kicks down the rope to pull Benji straight to the floor.
Oh, that hurt.
There's a lot of really good beats in there, and I really like their cooperation together, and it gives Ilsa an opportunity again to like be a badass.
Hell yeah.
Which is
I
really
like
cool.
I like that Benji can hold his own, right? He's not the spy that Ethan is, but he's not afraid to get into that fight for what's right.
Right.
He's not the.
But he also
he's-
can't match the head of the syndicate.
No, but what I do love about Benji is that actually a lot of the members on the team, or even like throughout the movies, is that they're never like the stereotypical person. Like Luther and Benji, they're both big tech guys, but Benji wants to go out in the field. Normally, whenever a tech person goes into the field, the agent, like the seasoned agent, is like, "Oh, you tech guys, you're always going to slow me down. You're lame and whatever." They can't hold themselves in a fight. Seeing Benji's character go from the dude in the computer chair to I'm in the field, I'm kicking ass, getting my ass kicked sometimes, but he's still out there kicking ass and taking names. And Luther also being out there fighting the good fight as well. I don't know why, but I just really enjoy that, because you always see, like, a lot of times in media, you see computer nerds being computer nerds. They're stuck behind a computer. They're like doing the whole typing thing. Whereas in this one's like, yeah, their technical prowess helps, and they're there still ready to fight. It's not like, oh, I don't like violence. I can't fight. It's more like, damn it. And then they put their stuff down and they're ready to go.
For sure. Also, we got to highlight that absolute badass beat of the hook to the face that pulls Cavill to his fiery demise.
I didn't remember, because I remember the cliff stuff, and I know he falls off, but like maybe,
you hear it.
Maybe he survives. No,
chunk. You hear that. You hear that thing land in his skull and pull him to his death.
Essentially, the helicopter, or the remains of the helicopter, was get over here.
Yeah.
The whole rock climbing sequence is so tense, because you're like, I've seen the movie before, and I'm like, get up there, Ethan, get up there, climb faster.
The make of any, again, movies that like I rewatch and like you can still make me feel just as intense and feel tense, like even though I know the outcome. It's just really good filmmaking,
right?
And like McQuarrie just has a grasp on what this franchise, like what he thinks it should be, and it's working. So I'm so glad I'm getting at least 2 more of these movies, guaranteed.
Yeah, McQuarrie has such an interesting way of looking at this franchise, where he looks at it as an organic being. I don't know how much any of you guys have heard him talk, and probably Ryan has quite a bit. But
I do recommend real quick, like McQuarrie does like epic, like 6-hour spoiler cast on every Mission Impossible movie with the Empire podcast. Like I super recommend you guys listening to it. He goes into every detail. It is so fascinating.
He will talk a lot about, like, we wrote it into the script, but Mission has a mind of its own. So if it's not working, it will tell you. And he has this whole idea that, like, what a Mission Impossible film needs to be, the film will tell you what it is. You have to be willing to follow what the film wants to tell you.
Right.
I find that such an interesting way of looking at it.
Yeah, it feels like for a franchise that is quite complicated, it really feels like kind of like go with the flow in terms of making the story. And you build it out as you go, instead of like, oh, we have an endpoint in mind. And that's just like, I think makes for really engaging material.
It goes back to, like, Solomon Lane was supposed to die at the end of the film. The Impossible films didn't want that to happen. So you'd be willing to follow what the story wants, what the right story is going to be, and the film will tell you what that is.
Yeah.
I do want to highlight, I think one of the most important lines we've had in the franchise is from Bassett at the end, which is, we need people like you to care about the one life as much as they care about the millions, so I never have to.
Yeah, because I'm soulless.
Which is but it's also so definitional of Ethan. It's ever, like, it's highlighting that like Ethan does both.
Yeah.
It's on either or, like, it's Ethan does both.
Yeah. Spider-Man.
I think it's really good. I will say that, like, there's something about the ending that does feel like it kind of rushes us out of there.
Sure.
Something about, like, the overlay of Angela Bassett's narration while we're getting, like, the sum up of the team looking at each other and like, yeah, we did it. And then it's like credits. And I'm like, oh, all right, I guess we're done. Yeah. It's just a little abrupt, but, like, the movie's great.
We haven't talked about it for this movie. I think the music in this movie is incredible.
Yes.
I think the music is it's just, I think it's the same composer as the last movie. I didn't look it up. I could be wrong.
I got you.
Whether it is or not, I think this is a substantial upgrade from the last movie. Like, whoever this composer is obviously not a Giacchino as well, but this movie has so much variation in types of Mission Impossible themes, and the doodle is throughout the entire movie. Elsa's theme throughout the entire movie. I think, like, next to Giacchino, like, this is the best score for this movie, I think, or for this franchise.
Lorne Balfe, I believe, is his name.
And it was Joe Kramer on Rogue Nation, so it's a different one.
Okay, this one is this is my second favorite.
Well, you'll be happy to know he's composing Dead Reckoning.
Yes!
Yeah. I think Fallout has a very good score. It's a Ghost Protocol and this one I think have the best scores of the franchise for sure.
It's for real. It's the piano that and I was like, oh, that's so spy-like. I love it.
I think one of the reasons, besides Giacchino just being like a known name and a genius, just a standout with his jazz orchestrations, why Ghost Protocol is so impressive to me is because you had him in 3, and then you heard him like step up on 4, and but that doesn't change the fact that I think the score here is really excellent, really excellent.
After rewatching these films and kind of knowing the trajectory of why this happened, I'm really upset that the Bond films decided to go the way of the Bourne films and not the way of the Mission Impossible films. Because I think I'm so kind of sad that like Bourne changed the spy genre so distinctly that it became indistinguishable to action films, but Mission Impossible was able to walk that line so successfully for so many years through the Bourne phase of filmmaking, and continues to be its own identity in the spy genre, with gadgets and with fun and with high stakes and with great action. Like I hope for the next Bond franchise that they take cues from Mission.
Yeah, I think that's very likely to happen too, right? Like you'll probably get something that's some kind of blend between like what John Wick has brought to action films and this.
Yeah.
Because like these are definitional of this moment in film, you know, and like it depends on how soon we get our next Bond, right? But like Daniel Craig's era suffers from a decision to go gritty and to go towards what you're describing, like the Bourne stuff, and like it can't, even when it decided it wanted to, it couldn't quite escape that identity.
Mm-hmm. Right, and like I just feel like bottom line, don't run away from the gadgets. That's part of the fun of watching these films. And the Craig Bond films very light on gadgets, almost nothing. But like Ethan Hunt has gadgets that they would have given Pierce Brosnan if he had continued as Bond. Like
for sure,
such cool and fun gadgets. And what do we talk about with Rogue Nation? A lot of these gadgets are super cool and memorable. Like that's part of the fun of talking about these spy films is these cool gadgets.
I like Fallout. I think that this isn't a slight on Fallout. I think Rogue Nation does have like some of the best.
Yeah.
Like we I feel like we have a actual buffet of gadgetry that we see in Rogue Nation. Like we do see some good stuff here. I don't mean to say
it's definitely less,
but like Rogue Nation has like, there's so much on the table there that's like, oh my god, look at all these wonderful gadgets we're using.
All of our favorite toys.
Every film introduces a new way to make masks. Very funny. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
This one got broke because Henry Cavill smashed in his face with it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anything else you want to say about this one?
I'm so glad that we got to do this, to watch all these movies again, because like I think it's just a great franchise, and like it's really cool, like being online, like
everybody's doing it.
This is something
I have to say, this is something I've enjoyed about all our franchises this year. It happened with Scream, and it happened with Indiana Jones, and it's happening now with Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
A whole bunch of people online also did the same thing we're doing and revisited the films, and so they're having these conversations about, damn, these movies are good.
Yeah, specifically like Rogue Nation and Fallout. There's so many clips. I'm like, damn, these movies do rule. And I'm in the reviews for the new one are out. Spoilers, it's good. I'm hearing really good things. So like, I'm so jazzed. Again, even if McCrory said like he wants to do more, we're getting at least 2 more of these movies at this quality level. Like, give me a break, dude. We're so blessed. So #blessed.
Rate it?
I would give 10. I think this is a perfect action movie. Like this is like a John Wick 2 situation where like I have almost no faults, and any faults I have are so minuscule they you don't even notice them for me.
Sparks?
Yeah, it's a 10.
Oh yeah,
it's a 10 for sure. This is the one that like I think I can't find a bad thing about this movie. Like I think it hits on every level that it should. I think it has truly captured what a Mission Impossible movie can do at its best. And again, like I really love Ghost Protocol. I find it incredibly entertaining, but a weaker villain and a lack of Ving Rhames puts it underneath Fallout for me.
Ben, rate it?
I would say 9.5, only because that needle is just still like going. It's like jumping between 9.5 and 10.
So big score, baby.
I mean, this was still my first time watching it, and I loved this movie. I had a blast. It was this and Rogue Nation, to me, they're like a nice, cohesive whole story. And I am super excited for Dead Reckoning now. I did not know that the White Widow was going to be back in Dead Reckoning. Now I'm like excited because I kind of like her.
I'm really
Oh,
happy with a lot of the characters keep coming back because it makes the show feel more like an ensemble. It makes the movie feel more like an ensemble piece, and I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Now, if we can only get Paula Patton back,
dude,
Dude,
there's
100%.
no way. Paula Patton and did Jonathan Rhys-Meyers, the Irish guy, did he die?
no, he's
Or is he
alive.
Okay, I don't need him as much, but I need Paula Patton back yesterday.
No, I don't need Jonathan Rhys-Meyers and Maggie Q back as much as I enjoy them.
Yeah,
I do really like Paula Patton's character.
Yeah.
And I could use her coming back. I could use Renner back too if he wanted to. Like I wouldn't mind it. Like there's good use for those characters.
I don't know if they'll be like in Dead Reckoning Part 1. That kind of feels like a ending the franchise kind of thing, but like they could show for fun for like they don't need to do that as much as possible. Do what you want. I'm just so excited for Dead Reckoning. It's out. It comes out tomorrow.
Renner and Paula Patton are on my wish list of characters to come back. Hey, if we could get Kittredge back, we can get anyone.
Yeah,
back.
see, that's the thing.
Anything can happen.
We got MI1 guy back. Oh, we can get anybody. Hell yeah.
I say it's a 9. Once more. Do we want to rank them? Should we? Okay,
So we
let's do it.
touched base last time, so we know that the ranking was 4, 3, 1, 2. We all agreed last time that that's where things are.
Yeah.
So where do these two fit now?
I can't say it out loud. I mean I have to write it down or else I'll be confused.
We all know what the titles are, so you can go ahead and use
yeah.
the numbers, guys, just for efficiency's sake. I can go first because I know what it is. It's 6, 4, 5, 3, 1, 2.
That's yeah.
6, 4, 5, 3,
So
1, 2.
I like Fallout the best, and then it's Ghost Protocol, and then it's Rogue Nation. Yeah.
Ben?
6, 5, 4, 3, 1, 2.
Yep,
6,
that's
5, 4, 3, 1, 2. Okay, yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I think I'm here. Okay, so it's Ghost Protocol at the number 1 spot, and then it's at the number 2 spot, Fallout, Rogue Nation 3 and 1, and then in the okay.
Boo!
I can make no decisions about
That's my bullshit.
Incredible.
Brandon's pulling my bullshit right now.
Yeah.
No, it so it's 4. I think I'm pretty good with 4, 6, 5, 3, 1, 2.
We're all the same except for like just like the top ones. Yeah, they're all good. These are all.
And
good.
again, like really like the middle 4 can like switch at any moment because I really like all these.
Yeah.
All right.
What we all agreed across the board is that Ghost Protocol, Rogue Nation, and Fallout are all just
Bangers.
Like absolutely great films.
God.
What a fun time.
4, 5, 6 is just like a great, like you want to watch the greatest like spy trilogy. It's just like bam, like incredible stuff.
Ben, I'm so glad you got to go through these.
Yeah.
And that you're ready for Dead Reckoning with us. This
I'm
is
ready.
such fun. I'm thrilled, genuinely, that we get to experience this next one
I agree.
together.
Me too. I'm really excited. I was really sad that we couldn't review Fallout together. But I'm glad we're gonna get to do Dead Reckoning.
Yeah. 5 years ago, crazy.
Okay. Shall we get into our book club then?
I would love to.
Secret.
It's the last time.
I've got us.
Pardon our dust for some technical difficulties there, friends.
What is happening? This thing is revolting against me.
Yo, bro, you need a real computer.
Here's the thing. Going forward, you only need to play one intro.
That's true.
That's true.
That's very true.
Yeah. All right. Well, you know what? For the last time we're doing the book club on the main show, that's a hell of a way to do it. All right, Spark. Ben, I'm all out of source.
Oh yeah,
now.
what's Ben?
Ben, it is your turn. Take it away.
It is my pick. So originally last week when I picked the book club, I announced it was Secret Invasion by Brian Michael Bendis. However, looking back into the archives, we realized oh shit, we actually did that. Ryan is putting up a 5, so I assume we did that
Back
5.
when Fallout came out.
5 years ago.
Wow.
Shit. Okay.
It was 5 years ago, yeah.
So we changed it, or I changed it, thanks to a suggestion, to Secret Invasion Mission Earth, which came out in 2022 and it ended this year. It is written by Ryan North. It is drawn by Francesco Mobili, and I don't know who did the colors, but I know that the cover artist was Matteo Loli, because that's all the information that's on my phone right now.
Love it.
And it is essentially a spy book about Maria Hill hunting down some scrolls. And guys, what did you think about this one? Because I will come off the bat and say I know I enjoyed this one a whole lot more than the original Secret Invasion.
Yeah, colors by Jordi Belair, famed, awesome colorist. I really like this book. I almost love this book. I think also that just ties into what we're the show I'm currently watching, and like this is the version of that show I wish existed. This is such an incredible look at Maria Hill, and the way that like what she will do to save humanity, and the way that she is different from Nick Fury, but in the way that she is the same as Nick Fury, and she does just want to help people, even if she's kind of a bitch. I love this idea of this new type of Skrull invasion. It isn't a worldwide invasion, which they make fun of in the book. They're like, you took over the world, then you had a public battle in Central Park, you dummies. Incredible commentary.
With superheroes? Of course you were going to lose that, you idiots.
Yeah, I think this is really funny. Ryan North is such a good writer, and he's definitely like, he's been around, but he's coming up more and more. He's writing Fantastic Four right now. He wrote Unbeatable Squirrel Girl, and that's where the plot, some of that comes in from that book. So I think this is just a really good time. You know, I'm in the mood for something Secret Invasion-y. So I'm really glad to have read this.
I also really enjoyed this. I think the art is exceptional.
So good.
I love that this is just a Maria Hill book, essentially, which really works for me.
Threw me off from that first issue. I didn't think about it. Yeah,
I think it's really well written, and I think that every cliffhanger beat of the issues are paid off very well in the subsequent storytelling. And it really keeps you like, all right, so what are we doing here? What are we doing here? And I'm always pleasantly satisfied with what the reveals are for what's going on.
Yeah,
I think it's just a solid, tight 5-issue story that really works for me.
Even the books themselves, I found myself blazing. Sorry, I'm cutting Brandon off because I just want to get this thought out real quick. I felt like I was blazing through this book because even with 5 issues with Marvel, sometimes they kind of drag a little bit. It's like, how long is this issue? But you're absolutely right, Sparks. This book is a very quick. It's tight. It gets to the point. There's fluff where there needs to be fluff. There's not a lot of fat that has to be trimmed. I think this, like, it's a really good, like, easy hour-ish or 45-minute read, give or take.
I really enjoyed this. I thought this was really cool. I agree that with whoever said it, I think it was either Ryan or Sparks. Ryan. The idea that this is kind of the show that I wanted Secret Invasion to be.
Yeah.
And I really like what we're doing here. This kind of smaller scale Secret Invasion. The kind of like, we're on it this time. We know that if they're going to do it, we know how to beat you, and we're going to do that. So we're going to do all these blood tests, and we're going to do all of that. And so like the reveals aren't like, oh, Black Widow is a Skrull. The next issue we got her back. We're good.
Very much a Maria Hill pulling an Ethan Hunt, and thinking many steps ahead, to catch on to the anticipated lane of Skrulls.
Also, a Thing reference. One of my favorite horror movie, John Carpenter's The Thing. They do blood tests to find who the alien is.
No.
To what Brandon was saying. Were you done, Brandon, or did you have more you wanted to throw in? Okay. To what Brandon was saying, it's not necessarily like this is what I wanted the show to be, but it is the dynamic I wanted Nick Fury and Maria Hill to have.
Yeah.
Which is this idea of like Nick Fury kind of as like, a public face, and he's like, he can get his information and everything, but like Maria Hill's now doing the down and dirty, and she's the one who's prepared for this, and she's the one who's taking a lot of the reins for it, to know what needs to be done. And I really like that.
Yeah, I wish, because we asked this question in our Secret Invasion Fake Nerds Watch, like, so what is Nick Fury, what is his role without S.H.I.E.L.D.? And I like that they tell him, you're looking at Nick Fury, agent of no one, freelance law enforcement / international incident manager / justifiable paranoid savior of Earth. And I'm like, put that on a business card, sure.
Yeah.
I like the opening that when he realizes that the family are Skrulls, and he's like,
Oh,
son
and
of
he
a bitch.
punches a child, and I'm like, that's how I know this guy's good.
Yeah.
It's a good old fake child.
Yeah,
punching
looking at
you.
the photo and realizing
2 daughters instead of a son and a daughter. Yeah.
No, it's
and
it's the clothes. They're wearing the exact same clothes.
yes.
Oh, sure, got it.
And then getting busted and finding out Furies were busted at all different places of government at once.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is good. Yeah.
I also like the payoff from that scene, which is, like, Nick, are you fine? Like, how are you? Are you fine? Like, that's our call and response to know that one of us is compromised, and then paying that off later when Fury is like, Maria, are you okay?
I'm goddamn
and
great.
Yeah.
It's like
when she's in the room and she's like, I'm goddamn great, and he's like, son of a bitch, it's your game now, because he knows she's a Skrull.
There's a great interrogation scene between Maria Hill and a Skrull, and it reminded me of the Black Widow Loki scene from Avengers, where Maria Hill kind of lowers her guard a little bit, and she's like gets really close to the shield. And she's like, door, shields, and they open, and she stabs this Skrull with a syringe, and she's like, Jesus, Maria, and I was like, you thought I was weak? I ain't weak. I'm better than you. Ah! Like, Maria's so tight. She does a Halo drop that is like the dopest anyone's ever looked in a comic. You can't see it from here, but she does a Halo drop. It's incredible from a shield helicarrier. Just the art. Spark said it. The art is phenomenal in this comic.
It is pretty damn good art.
The Tony Stark reveal that Ryan put up on the phone on his phone real quickly. Very good reveal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I honestly love when she has her confrontation moment with Tony, where Tony's explaining what the Skrulls have been able to do and all this stuff, and he's like, yeah, well, we had to put in the blood packs just in case, because I didn't want them to be busted for being Skrulls.
God damn it, Tony!
Damn it, Tony, you ruined like the one way that we could, figure out who's who. And he's like, ah, shit, yeah, that's my bad.
Yeah, that is I took a picture of him, but this is really good Tony Stark, because he is somebody who absolutely is like, yo, I do want to save the world, and like the Skrulls will help me. So I'm gonna like actively sabotage my friends around me without actually thinking about it. I'm like, that's really good.
I know, like, when you get to the 5th issue, you find out like what really happened here, but the reveal for the last page of the 3rd issue, where she says no, and they make it look like she shoots the Skrulls. I was like, oh man, the art, the beat is so like, oh god.
The fake out of them not actually killing the Skrulls and using the mutant Skrull to just play a bunch of dead bodies, and like
that's why they were dumped in a clump.
That's why they were dumped in a clump, and like, because I am somebody who believes that Maria Hill would kill Skrulls like that, but this is about character growth. And this is about her getting over her Skrull racism and wanting to make a Skrull kill crew. It's really great. It's really great character development shit. Like, and again, like, oh, that's such a good. The art is so good. God, there are so many sequels now. Like, we've had Civil War 2, and like the only really good one is Secret Wars. Thank you, Jonathan Hickman. But there's so many returning to really famous events. So when I heard we're doing another Secret Invasion tie-in book, I'm like, whatever.
Especially because like they were making this to land with the show, like when they thought the show was coming out earlier.
Absolutely, and like this is like the best example of how you can use a name of a story and recontextualize it, do something different with it. I think it's really great. I think it's super fun. Again, like I cannot stress how much I love the art. It really reminds me of a cleaner Greg Capullo. The way he draws faces, specifically noses. Just if you read a lot of his Batman, people have a little similar noses. I recognize that nose anywhere. It's still fantastic. It's beautiful.
When the Skrull Maria is standing up to the other Skrulls, the bad Skrulls, and has the Avengers crashing into the building,
yes.
and she's saying like, but you passed the blood test, and she's like, yeah, you should have gone for the head, and then Nick Fury's like, or the tongue, and she's like, lots of places really that you should have checked besides where you did.
There's a great scene where Nick and Maria are getting alternately punched, and Nick gets punched twice. She's like, hey, it spits out blood. You skipped my turn. And I'm like, oh, you're so good. Why weren't you like this in the MCU?
Speaking of the art, I do want to highlight there's 2 pages that use this paneling here. Oh God, but the camera will not let me.
It will in 1 second. Hold on.
The pages I'm talking about specifically for our audio listeners, they're these ones where we get it's green screen, but like you can see the outline of the Skrull heads on the sides.
Yeah.
Where that's used to show what's happening with the Skrulls. I think that's so smart. You get these 4 Skrull heads on the left and right for these full spreads, so you really see like where they're infiltrating as the Skrull is gloating over Maria.
Yeah. I show this, but for audio listeners, I'm showing up the reveal that Tony's working with all the Skrulls, and it's like 6 Tony Stark's, and he's like, "Don't worry, Maria, it's just me." And it's like really creepy, and you think maybe he's a bad guy, and it's like, no, he's a good guy. He's really stupid. He's being really stupid about it.
No, pretty much one of the things I love about this book is, Brandon, you're muted.
Who muted? What? Who muted me?
Not me.
I don't even know. Nobody muted you.
Oh, that's weird. I didn't touch
Your
it.
system is betraying you.
Yeah.
Apparently, it doesn't matter. Go on, Ben.
No, I was going to say one of the things I love about this book, and also what made me want to keep going forward with it, were the cliffhangers. Issue 1, after the whole Avengers, like they get the blood fusion, or the blood test and everything. They find the Skrull impersonating Romanoff, and then the Skrull goes to the bathroom and goes, "That's something I didn't want to hear today." I was like, "Oh shit!" Like every other, and issue 3 was like a huge shock. Issue 4 was, every single one was a great issue. And then it was just like, I want to know more. Even issue 5, whereas don't send a Skrull to do a Super Skrull's job, I was like, oh, there's even more.
That's fun. That's fun, because I guarantee you that's showing up in his Fantastic Four run.
Yeah.
Because that's where the Super Skrulls come from, maybe.
I really do like Maria's beat that she has, where she's having the meeting with the intelligence officers talking about the Skrull invasion, and she says Reed Richards is the one who developed the miraculous Skrull detector that saved us, and we put all of those in all of our buildings, and it's an invention, ladies and gentlemen, that no longer works because Fury walked into all of those buildings and we didn't know.
Yeah. And again, you mentioned the scene, but it is really funny seeing like 6 different Nick Furies get arrested. That's a great first issue of like, you think it's going to be all about Nick Fury and stuff, and then
Maria Hill.
Also, the we know it's put on for show, but the fight between Iron Man and Maria Hill in the armor up on the helicopter is real tight. It looks really good. It's tense when you don't know what's really going on. I really like it.
Yeah, it's well staged. Absolutely.
I like that Maria. I'm not muted, am I?
No, we got you.
I like that Maria is upset at Tony's reveal that when he says it's all me, it's just me, and have him kind of realize almost immediately that this was a bad idea.
Yeah. He's like, I'm so sorry. I did that wrong. That wrong.
And his whole thing of like, I was using the Skrulls to like, I can't be everywhere at once. They love help. They love being superheroes. Like, Tony, you're just giving these people your suits to go out. Are you giving them like information? Like, no, I'm just hiring them. They're my employees. Like, Tony, you're brilliant, but you're really stupid.
Well, I like, it kind of creates this idea of that the MCU is playing with, that the not all Skrulls are bad, right? Like, these Skrulls are not part of the military. They just want to live. And so he's kind of being like a humanitarian for them, to be like, come work for me, and like they get paid, I assume. But one of the things that I really like about this book that exemplifies, that's being told in a small scale story. This isn't a big major Marvel event, even though the Avengers are in it. This is a smaller scale story, and I really appreciate that, which puts it in stark contrast with the series for me. That's where the kind of connection happens for me, because if you're going to do the show as a smaller event, not doing Secret Invasion, the original, this is the template. This would have been the template.
Yeah, like you want to have a more personal character story, which is why I think it's so smart. It's like, the Avengers are present, but like this is Maria Hill's story, and then a little bit of Iron Man and a little bit of Nick Fury, but like it's down to those 3.
Yeah.
And that's who this story is focused on. And like more than anything, it's Maria Hill's. Yeah. And I think it really works at that angle. And it really works as this like secret invasion that it's like the secret invasion that never was. Like, it almost happened, but it didn't, because Maria Hill's just too goddamn good at her job. And that's the story.
Oh yeah. I don't know if I can find a picture, but there was a really great thing about how like the scars of that first invasion are still being felt by the next generation. And like that's the kind of stuff that the Gravik is dealing with in the show Secret Invasion. And like I like that we can have a connection to that big event while not having it be a big event, but the stakes still feel big. Like they are still trying to like destroy the world, the human world. And it's just a good comic. Like I'm glad I got to read it, because like we were just gonna reread the old comic again. I'm like, oh yeah, I read that before. So I'm glad we got to do this.
Me too.
All right. Anything else?
I do think like just that whole first issue with the family bit, and like the idea of this grieving family as the setup to get Nick out there is really tight.
Mhm.
For like he's a Skrull. That's why he was distant and all this. And I'm like, oh man, you almost believe the lie, and like just like Nick like kind of pity him, and then oh son of a bitch.
Yeah, I was waiting. I wasn't sure. I did not expect that all three would be Skrulls. Like I thought like they just weren't crazy, and it was just like, oh, like the paranoia of the last invasion is still haunting people. Like, no, shit is going bad.
It was really good that it's just like, oh, it was a believable story, you know, in general. Like, oh, what a you know, like that makes perfect sense in the context of like this comic world. Like, you know, Skrulls exist. Of course you would like create this lie. Like it's very believable. And then they're like, haha, gotcha, Nick. And he's like, God damn it, I fell for the sympathetic family.
Gotcha. Good. Good.
Anything else?
Man, I love it. It's just so, it looks so good. I highly recommend people check it out.
I'm
it's
definitely
a newer comic, and it's like, it's really solid.
Yeah, like we said at the end of this year. I'm going to go on Marvel Unlimited, and I'm going to check what other art that this person has done, because it's truly exceptional. Their facial expressions, like Maria Hill gives somebody like and like so many like really expressive, and like that's the shit I look for in comics. Like, man, like I wanna know these characters, what they're feeling, like, because like, you know, drawing 500 people in a comic's hard, man. Like, but every panel is expressive. Like, you got the gift, man.
Yeah, all the base art and the coloring is just so dynamic and cool. Especially you get stuff like this with Iron Man facing down Maria. It looks so good.
That's pretty cool.
Love it.
Okay. Well, guys, that's it. No more book club next week. So we will continue the book club over on the Fake Nerd Book Club feed. So stay tuned for when that starts up again. That will be Ryan's turn, because it is Ryan's turn next. Do you know?
Nope.
No. So stay tuned for whatever.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for whatever that's going to be, as well as, guys, like we said up top, this is the final show. This is the final show as you know it. The Fake Nerd podcast from next week onward will be changing. Just to recap, it will be just the weekly roundup, and then it will be the news, and then that's it. That's the end of the show. So stay tuned for that, as well as joining us earlier in the morning, earlier in the day, Sunday morning rather than Sunday night. So hope you'll join us.
Yeah. And we're still going to be talking Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning, just not Sunday.
We
still
don't,
doing it.
And just on that note, like, we do know we're doing it. We don't know exactly when we're doing it, because Ben does have plans next weekend. So Ben will not be on our next weekly episode. So you'll just get Brandon, Ryan, and I, but we'll be here, and we're going to talk about the news. This new format will adjust, and we will find a time, and then you'll get our Dead Reckoning discussion. That's going to happen as well.
Fight the friction.
So everything's still happening. It's just happening in a different way.
Yeah,
a little bit different. A little bit. I see you, Grayson, there with the little sad crying eyes emoji. I see you there. I see you.
We're not going anywhere.
Grayson, this leaves us more time to get together and play Shredder's Revenge before that new movie drops, which we have to do.
We have a month now.
Yeah.
Time keeps going by.
So, yes, as Sparks and Ryan's expertly said, Dead Reckoning, Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1 will be our next, for sure, Cinephiles, and that's where you will see from now on movie reviews, just there. So stay tuned for when that is released. Looking forward to it.
I do want to clarify, just for the audio listeners real quick, Cinephiles, those will continue to show up in our Fake Nerd podcast thread. They'll still just be denoted as Cinephiles, so you will be getting our news episodes regularly and our Cinephiles there. The book club episodes will not show up on this main Fake Nerd podcast audio feed, so if you are a listener, you're going to want to go to our Fake Nerd book club feed. That is where the book clubs are now going to show up.
If you are somehow someone who listens to the podcast for only the 20 minutes of the book club, this is really going to benefit you. Because you're not going to have to skip
or if it's just your favorite thing.
Or if it's your thing, you don't have to skip 3 hours of a podcast just to get to the book club. So like that's gonna be helpful for everybody.
So guys, thank you. I'll get to the thank yous actually in a minute. So guys, Fake Nerd Podcast, like this video, subscribe to this channel, check out all the other shows that we have on this network if you want. Some of them are linked below, such as Conversation. My sixth episode of Conversation season 2 is out with Rachel Strange. Great conversation. I love talking to her. I will tell you what my next guest is next week. Please listen to that. Fake Nerds Watch, Star Trek Strange New World season 2 Fake Nerds Watch will continue, of course. And we've recently recorded a second episode for Secret Invasion, so stay tuned for that's release.
True.
Oh
It's
no,
in
you
live.
froze.
He can't fight the friction.
You froze for a moment, Brandon. You're back.
Just go to our website and I'll talk. Thanks for everyone for joining us. Good night. I'm serious. I might just do it unless you guys want me to continue.
No, we got you. You're here.
You're back.
I mean, like, check out all our shows. We got our links, Conversation, we mentioned it up top. Fake Nerds Watch, Basement Arcade pause menus are coming, Fake Nerd Book Club, all that kind of stuff. Check it all out. You know where to find it. It's here on the YouTube. It's here on the website, fakenerdpodcast.com.
Yep.
There you go. Go ahead, Brandon. Give us our thank yous.
Our TeePublic and our Patreon, if I'm not frozen.
You are not?
The links below as well. By the way, my Conversation logo is now on TeePublic. So if you guys want to buy that, you can. As Spark said, website, fakenerdpodcast.com. Being updated regularly. So, check it out all the time. Thank you to everyone who listens to the podcast and watches the live show and has watched the rewinds. We greatly appreciate it. We love your support this entire time. Grayson in the chat says, thanks so much for the show. It's been great, and I look forward to catching up next weekend. Probably means he won't be in the live chat, which will be a bummer to lose you, sir. I am very grateful that everybody who has sat through this 4-hour-long podcast. So every Sunday night, I just want to say thank you for that support. That was awesome. It's always fun to keep to. We don't do this for ourselves. I don't do this for other people. I do this for myself and to enjoy doing this show. But it's nice to know that there is actually somebody actively watching the stream when we do it. Mm-hmm. It's kind of fun. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. And just in general, even if you weren't here live, thanks for bearing through these very long episodes. It is appreciated.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Of course, thank you to Jeremy Bellucci, who did all the music you heard here tonight. And all the music for every single one of our shows. You can find him at Jeremy Bellucci _Wreck of Time. By the way, he is also the co-host of The Real Score. You can also check him out at his podcast, Suburban Proctologist, on iTunes or Facebook at Suburban Proctologist Official or Instagram at SubProc Podcast. And once again, thank you to Mike Mottola. As I mentioned, the shirt that the design he made for me for Conversation Season 2 is available on the TeePublic page. Should anybody be interested, he's in a couple of our logos. He's collaborated with us. We love that man, and the one in the corner actually.
Yeah, that one too.
So thank you to him. You can find him at Mike Mottola on Instagram and TikTok, maybe Threads. He's on Threads, I think.
Oh, did he? Oh, what a cutie.
Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, all at Fake Nerd Podcast. FakeNerdGuys@gmail.com. I'm at BT McClure on Instagram and Twitter. I also write for CBR.com, AtomicGeekdom.com, and KaijuRamenMedia.com, where I'm also the editor. Ben?
Well, you could find me still playing The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom at BenMaga27 on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and now officially Threads. Yes, I jumped on the bandwagon. And, of course, you can find me writing for Fusion Gaming Magazine, GoNintendo.com, Old School Gamer Magazine, and playing Mary Frankenstein in D&D Dark. New episodes out Wednesdays. I play the Barbarian, and Grayson Live, who's still in the chat most likely, is our Invisible Man, Jack Griffin. So go ahead and check that out. Link is in the description down below.
Sparks?
You can find me completely wrapped up in the astonishment of new possibilities at Sparks Witty on Instagram, Twitter, SPARKZ Witty.
And Ryan?
You can find me very excited about the future of the podcast at DJ Tony Snark 616.
Subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music and Podcasts, and Pandora. Rate and review wherever you get us. We greatly appreciate it. Like this video, subscribe to this pod. Like this video, subscribe to our channel, and until next time you see us, guys, I assume you're playing something?
Oh, you didn't hear it?
No, I didn't.
It was the Vin. Oh!
Oh, I thought you were going to play the...
Give me this one.
And his name is John C.
John, what are you doing here?
John Cena wanted to give a last hurrah on our longest episodes.
Hold on. I thought you guys were going to play this.
Hunt is the living manifestation of destiny. Hunt is the living
No.
manifestation of
I didn't even know that was
Hunt
there.
is the
Yeah, I
living
didn't know that was there.
manifestation of
I
destiny.
And it
do
won't go
know
away
that.
now.
Hunt is the living manifestation
No!
of destiny.
Ethan, stop manifesting.
Yeah, I put that in there a couple weeks ago when we started this.
I forgot all
No.
about that.
Yeah.
I didn't
I was-
forget about the scream though.
All right, so I'm sorry that looped. I forgot to take the loop off. All right, guys. Until next time you see us, stay fake nerds. Where the hell
See
is
ya.
it? There it is.